I'm pretending to cultivate immortality in kindergarten. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76 The Destined Prince Charming. The street lights had already been turned on. Large flakes of snow fell on the two people who were hugging each other. Perhaps they had waited too long, and there was some white on Han Wenwen's head. Lin's Hengren was puzzled as usual. What are you doing again? But this time Han Wenwen's hands grabbed his clothes tightly and buried her face in his arms. I thought Brothers Hengren would not come. Her voice was different from usual, with a little sob. Lin's Hengren knew about her childhood and understood something at once. He held her shoulders and took her away from his arms. As a result, he saw Han Wenwen staring at him with her reluctant and red fox eyes. Lin's Hengren let out a long sigh and said, I have never broken my promise since I was a child. Besides, even if you are waiting for me, can't you just wait at home? It's not like there are no windows in the room. Han Wenwen bit her lips slowly and suddenly smiled, because I was scared. I was scared that I wouldn't be able to see you tonight, so I was anxious to come down and wait for you. Lin's Hengren was stunned. This fox really spoke the truth and complained, you really don't mind the cold. Han Wenwen suddenly got angry and turned around and snorted, pretending to be angry and said, then Brothers Hengren, won't you feel sorry for me and hug me more? Why are you pushing me away? She said this in preparation for a beating, and sure enough, she got a chestnut on her head. But after the beating, Lin's Hengren knocked the snow off her head and walked towards Han Wenwen's house. Don't say useless things, go home and have dinner. Han Wenwen looked at Lin's Hengren's back and followed him with a smile. But the little fox is not an honest guy. She tentatively took Lin's Hengren's arm, but of course Lin's Hengren resisted and refused. Can't you keep your hands honest? Han Wenwen deliberately rubbed her hands and said, I'm cold because I've been waiting for too long. My hands are frozen red. She blew air into her palms. You know it's cold, so remember it next time. If I say I'll come over next time, just wait at home, he reminded. Hurry up, it will be warm when you get home. Han Wenwen secretly looked at him. The fox, who is good at observing people's hearts, may not be moved by some love words, but Lin's Hengren's occasional small promises always make her heart beat faster. I see. By the way, does Brothers Hengren feel a little sorry for me now? It's not me who asked you to come down. Han Wenwen blushed and said, it seems that Brothers Hengren dare not say that he doesn't feel sorry for me. If you can talk less, maybe this winter won't be so cold. After all, there will be fewer jokes. Han Wenwen covered her mouth and laughed. Lin's Hengren's forehead had veins. Try to laugh again. I dare not. How is Uncle? Nothing. I'm home now. He will be fine after 2 months of recuperation at home. Han Wenwen breathed a sigh of relief. That's fine. I'll buy some things and visit my uncle and aunt some other day. Back in the rental house, the warmth in the room made Han Wenwen shiver unconsciously. It was so comfortable. She took off her shoes with Lin's Hengren and sat down on the blanket beside the bed. Han Wenwen lifted the lid of the chicken soup pot and took a look. She was in a good mood and could smell the fragrance. It smells so good. Heat it up again and put the dumplings in the pot. Lin's Hengren put his coat aside and saw the dumplings that had been wrapped long ago. Have you finished it? I finished it a long time ago. I was just waiting for Brothers Hengren to come over. Brothers Hengren should not have eaten enough at home, right? Half full, eat some more at your place. Han Wenwen smiled and put the dumplings in the pot. After a comfortable dinner, the chill just now had disappeared. Han Wenwen held a bowl with a happy face while drinking chicken soup. She leaned close to Lin's Hengren. It's delicious, Brothers Hengren, do you want to try it? I'm drinking it now, I mean try mine. The chicken soup I've had tastes better. No, why? I'm afraid it's poisonous. After dinner, Han Wenwen dressed tightly and beautifully and walked to the street with Lin's Hengren to set off fireworks. Although the two did not buy the big ones, the small fireworks were enough to play with. Tiny and trivial flames popped from the fireworks called fairy sticks. Han Wenwen swung the string of sparks. Although it was not yet 12 o'clock, there were occasional fireworks in the sky. The two went to the largest market square in the town. At 12 o'clock tonight, many people would gather there to set off countless fireworks into the sky. Lin's Hengren looked at the bustling crowd and the fireworks waiting to explode, thinking that he was not allowed to light such things in his previous life, and he didn't know how long he could let the smell of gunpowder drift in this life. Han Wenwen was surprised that there were so many people here. There was no such place in the southern town where she lived. When it was almost time, a man who looked like a host in the center of the square held a microphone and shouted, "There are only 10 seconds left before the new year. Let's all count down together, 10, 9, 8. Many people shouted in unison, and some people quietly looked at the sky just waiting for the fireworks to explode. Han Wenwen also slowly spoke at this time, "Brother Zhengren, this year is the happiest new year since I was a child, but I am a greedy person. I don't want this to be the last one, so from now on, can you accompany me at all the end of the year?" Lin Zhengren glanced at her. "Aren't you a little too embarrassed by what you said?" The word "from now on" can be considered a very large number. The host was still shouting. His voice was even louder. 4, 3, 2. While Han Wenwen was worried, she heard Lin Zhengren looking up at the sky and said, "But since I said I would let you follow me for the rest of your life, I can agree to this." As the host shouted 1, countless people lit fireworks accompanied by cheers. Hundreds of fireworks of different colors rushed straight into the sky, blooming brilliantly. Everyone shouted Happy New Year, together with the fireworks. But no matter how dazzling the fireworks were, in Han Wenwen's eyes they were far less dazzling than the people around her. After hearing that, she opened her red lips slightly and looked at him blankly. The light of the exploding fireworks made her eyes flicker. Han Wenwen came to Lin Zhengren and held his face in her hands. Without hesitation, she stood on tiptoe and kissed him on the forehead with her eyes closed. This sudden move made Lin Zhengren open his eyes wide. Han Wenwen shyly fell back on her heels after a moment, with a blush unique to girls on her face. "Don't talk about me first. Let me finish what I want to say first." She pulled out a red little fox doll from her bosom, which was about the size of a palm. She tilted her head and smiled. "I wonder if Brother Zhengren plans to keep a cute pet for the rest of his life? This is my New Year's gift to Brother Zhengren, a little fox. She represents me, which means that I give myself to Brother Zhengren." She stood on tiptoe again and whispered in Lin Zhengren's ear, "Happy New Year, my destined classmate Lin Zhengren. Thank you to Kuguaya Kui for the reward of 5,000 starting coins. Thank you to Xiao Fen K for the reward of 100 starting coins. Thank you to 160,531,203,111,850 for the reward of 233 starting coins. Thank you to Rocket Team Kajiro for the reward of 500 starting coins. Thank you to Xiao Su, who is often short of books, for the reward of 100 starting coins." Chapter 77 Han Wenwen's Letter. The colorful fireworks in the sky were still crackling. Before the New Year celebrations were over, while Lin Zhengren was still angry and scolding her, Han Wenwen quickly waved goodbye to Lin Zhengren and said with a smile, "Brother Zhengren, don't forget to come to the rental house after the New Year to teach me how to play games and make money. I'll wait for you at home." Lin Zhengren saw Han Wenwen running away, with beads of sweat on her forehead. As a result, after walking a few steps, Han Wenwen turned back and said with a red face, "Oh, by the way, remember to wipe the lipstick on your forehead, otherwise it will be discovered by your uncle and aunt." Lin Zhengren touched his forehead with his hand, and then he found that it was really a little red. Speechless, he wiped his forehead clean. This stinky fox. Seeing her figure disappear, Lin Zhengren turned around and left, just looking at the little pink fox doll in his hand. "I don't know where she got this thing from. It really looks like Han Wenwen. It's still furry when you pinch it with your hand." "Huh?" Lin Zhengren pinched it again and found that there seemed to be something like a piece of paper inside the back of the fox. Lin Zhengren turned the fox doll over and unzipped the back of the doll. There was really a note inside. He took it and checked the contents of the letter. His eyes became inexplicably dark. The letter read, "Brother Zhengren, do you know? In the town where I was born, there is a festival called Liangsan Festival. There is an ancient tree in the center of the festival where you can pray for marriage. I have been there twice, and your last name was displayed on it. I didn't think I would be interested in any boys before, because there were too many boys chasing me, but since I met Brother Zhengren, I think I still overestimated myself. In front of Brother Zhengren, my heart really beats faster and my heart beats wildly. I used to think about giving Brother Zhengren to Xiao Qing, but after experiencing the fever, I couldn't do it anyway. I know that I am still very selfish. So I swear that I will get everything of Brother Zhengren, all the first times, but I have a vague hunch that Brother Zhengren will definitely become very powerful in the future, and maybe Xiao Qing and I will be your wings in the end. P.S. There's more behind the note." Lin Zhengren turned the note over. "I have imagined that kind of situation. I feel that according to my personality, I can only agree. After all, I will listen to whatever Brother Zhengren says. I dare not talk back to Brother Zhengren. Besides, He Qing is also very nice. But even if Brother Zhengren wants more than one, I want to be the most favored one. That's all I think about. PPS, I will only be rejected if I confess to Brother Zhengren, but Brother Zhengren will not reject the things I did today, right? After all, I have never thought of being your girlfriend. I just want everything Brother Zhengren has. PPS, remember to tear up the note after reading it. Finally, thank you Brother Zhengren for spending this new year with me. I have never been so happy and I have never looked forward to the future so much. A text message suddenly popped up on the phone. It was sent by Han Wenwen. Remember to tear up the note and throw it away. In addition, you can't say anything about me on this happy day. I'm home. Good night Brother Zhengren. Lin Zhengren sighed and put away his phone. Tore up the note and threw it into the trash can. Putting the fox doll in his hand into his pocket, he also walked towards home. You have been wandering alone with the demon cult witch these few days, and you encountered a huge and ferocious neon beast on the way. This neon beast is an ancient mythical beast without roots, formless, immortal, and extremely difficult to defeat. So the two of you found an ancient secret method and joined forces with the people to lead the neon beast to an open area, and use the formation that the neon beast fears the most, the colorful fireworks formation, to trap it and dissipate it in the world. After this life and death battle, the demon cult witch saw how powerful you are and frankly said that she wanted to get you. I don't know whether this is an opportunity or a bad fate for you. You destroyed the neon beast and obtained the power of its soul. Your spiritual energy cultivation increased by 1, your strength increased by 4, your energy increased by 1, and your physical strength increased by 1. You obtained the little fox of transformation given by the demon cult witch. After possessing this thing, you gain 1 strength, 1 energy, 5 physical strength, 10 charm, and gain a lot of experience. You are only 1 step away from breaking through to level 50. Lin Zhengren, who left, felt the improvement of various attributes, and felt that he would break through to level 50 next year. Just after Lin Zhengren left, a Maserati that was completely different from the style of the town saw the fireworks and stopped by the roadside where he passed. The people in the car were just passing by. The rear window of the car fell down, revealing a slender figure sitting there, an elegant and beautiful girl looking at the gorgeous fireworks in the sky. On the beautiful and fair face, the pair of cold and frosty eyes looked for a while and then retracted their gaze. There was not much emotional fluctuation. Keep driving, the driver nodded, and the car continued to move forward. After the new year, everything became fast. After the New Year's greetings, there were only a few days left in the winter vacation. A few days later, Zhang Zuli returned to the town. In the past, she would call Lin Zhengren only when it was extremely important. But in this short winter vacation, she has called twice. And there was nothing wrong. Big idiot? I'm back, what are you doing? Lin Zhengren was lying at home reading a book. Reading, Zhang Zuli. Oh, a minute of silence passed. Lin Zhengren, nothing, hang up, hey. Wait. When will you accompany me to practice singing? Lin Zhengren thought for a while. After school starts, I have other things to do these days. Zhang Zuli said again, what are you busy with? Don't forget after school starts, Lin Zhengren replied. Got it. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Zuli in the bedroom shook her fist angrily. I haven't seen you for 20 days, and this guy doesn't miss me. I hate him so much. He Qing naturally couldn't help but call Lin Zhengren, but compared to Zhang Zuli, although He Qing's topics were boring, they were more. So every time she had to drag Lin Zhengren to chat for a while. There were only a few days left in the winter vacation after the new year. On this day, the little fox was recording a video and playing games in the rental house. When she heard the knock on the door, she was suddenly stunned. Because this was the first time Lin Zhengren came to see her after the new year. She was so scared that her game operation was deformed. Brother Zhengren, Lin Zhengren opened the door with a key, and saw Han Wenwen looking at him with a smile on her face, with sweat on her forehead. This is the first time we meet this year, Brother Zhengren. No matter how cunning the little fox is, she can't escape the fact that she is a girl. So when the letter was sent out, she didn't sleep all night on New Year's Eve, and covered her head in the quilt and was shy all night. At this moment, Lin Zhengren was looking at him, and Han Wenwen squinted at Lin Zhengren and smiled. Lin Zhengren glanced at her screen. Why are you looking at me? Keep playing games, aren't you recording a video? Han Wenwen said, looking at the game interface that had long been black, and quickly bought equipment and waited for resurrection. Lin's Hengren passed by her and gave her a chestnut on the head without saying a word. Han Wenwen screamed, "You hit me for no reason, and you don't know how to feel sorry for me." Lin's Hengren took a stool and sat next to her classmate Han Wenwen. Han Wenwen bit her lip and suddenly said shyly, "Brothers Hengren, can you please stop being so mean? Can you wait until I finish the game before you say anything?" Sure. After finishing the game with difficulty, when the words failed just appeared on the screen, Han Wenwen quickly covered her ears with both hands. She looked at him charmingly. "Brothers Hengren, just say whatever you want to say." Lin's Hengren, he was about to speak. Unexpectedly, Han Wenwen immediately interrupted in a low voice, "I'm hungry, how about eating first? I'll make you scrambled eggs with tomatoes." Suddenly, Lin's Hengren's phone rang, and it was a strange girl who called. This time, Han Wenwen directly covered the ear of Lin's Hengren, who answered the phone. With a jealous and angry look on her face, she said, "Actually, I wanted to say this a long time ago. When you are with me, you are not allowed to chat with other girls on the phone unless it is important. Even Xiao kicking is not allowed." Lin's Hengren, who cares about this? Han Wenwen took his phone and held it in her arms, lying on the table, revealing only a pair of fox eyes. "Yes, I won't let you talk to other girls. The new semester starts, then ends, and then starts and ends again. Junior high school is about to graduate." At the graduation ceremony, Xiao He Qing blinked and looked at the graduation banner and sighed. "It feels like the 9th grade has passed so quickly. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by such silence. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by a Clockwork Orange Dream Fast update. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by Since Longevity, Eternal Dove. I am always asking for follow-up reading and monthly tickets." Chapter 78. The Shura Field on the dining table. The junior high school graduation ceremony was quite grand. The school hung a banner at the entrance to celebrate the graduation of the third-year junior high school students. While little He Qing was sighing in her school uniform, Han Wenwen also took He Qing's arm and looked at the report card beside her. "Yeah, this year has passed so quickly. It feels like it has been a short time since I said a word. And classmate Lin's Hengren is really amazing. He got full marks in all subjects except Chinese." Little He Qing was somewhat used to it. He is like this. Except for the occasional time when he doesn't want to write in the usual exams, he always gets full marks in the big exams. Zhang Zuli stood beside the two and said, "By the way, where's that idiot? Where did he go?" Han Wenwen looked back and blinked her fox eyes. Classmate Lin's Hengren was just here. He Qing also looked around and searched until she saw a figure and smiled. Lin's Hengren is there. Lin's Hengren, who came out of the bathroom, heard the teacher calling everyone to take pictures, and walked to the three of them. "Stop chatting. The teacher is calling everyone to take graduation photos." Little He Qing and Zhang Zuli said oh and went to line up in their own class, while Han Wenwen followed Lin's Hengren to the first class team. The little fox took out 2 pieces of toilet paper from his pocket and handed them to the other party, adhering to his secretary's duties. "Brothers Hengren, wipe your hands." Lin's Hengren took it as usual. Han Wenwen would only call him Brothers Hengren when Lin's Hengren and the little fox were alone. Once He Qing or Zhang Zuli were there, Han Wenwen would change it to Lin's Hengren's classmate. Lin's Hengren roughly knew why the fox did this, because adding the word classmate after the name would make it seem unfamiliar. Of course, everything was a smokescreen deliberately created by the fox to confuse others. Han Wenwen saw Lin's Hengren looking at her, and the fox blinked. "Why are you looking at me like that?" She blushed and deliberately said, "You're making me shy." Here Lin's Hengren threw the toilet paper he used to wipe his hands into the trash can next to him. In the 3 years of junior high school, Lin's Hengren didn't do much. Most of his thoughts were on reading books and practicing, accumulating strength. After all, he was originally an adult, and he knew very well that it was completely useless to think about other things at this age. No matter which world you are in, you can't do without strength. But Han Wenwen, Zhang Zuli and He Qing, the 3 girls, have just matured mentally. Their first year was a period of confusion. In the second year, they started to think about love affairs after a little contact with the adult world. This made Lin's Hengren spend less time reading every day. Fortunately, last year, that is, the 9th grade, after experiencing those things, the 3 girls have grown up and no longer think about those things as they did in the second year. Although they still think about them from time to time, it is not as frequent as in the second grade. So the 9th grade passed very quickly. After all, the 3 girls are busy improving themselves, preparing for the high school entrance examination and welcoming the new high school life. Lin Zhengren and Han Wenwen entered the first class team, and the teacher stood in front to direct everyone. Everyone, stand in your respective positions. And don't move or talk after standing. The photographer adjusted the camera and said to the teacher, "Teacher, you should also stand in front of the team." The head teacher nodded and went to sit in front of the team. The photographer half knelt there and shouted, "Okay, let's start taking pictures. Classmates, don't close your eyes, look at the camera, nod at me, come on, 3, 2, 1, with a click." He checked the photos, great photos. Come on. Next class. Lin Zhengren waited for class 3 to finish taking photos, and the 4 of them left the school together with their things. This year, the 4 little ones are only 16 years old. In a little over a month, they will be high school students. On the way out of the school, Lin Zhengren looked at little He Qing who was standing on his left. Han Wenwen was still holding little He Qing's arm as usual. Last year, the town was going to carry out some reforms, so many entertainment activities were postponed for half a year. He Qing, the taekwondo competition in town will start after high school starts. Little He Qing responded softly, "I've looked at the time. The taekwondo competition is scheduled for a month after high school starts. I can come over to compete on weekends." Lin Zhengren looked at Zhang Zuli, who was walking with her hands behind her back and her pigtails bouncing. "What about you? Has the studio said there are any changes recently?" Zhang Zuli shook her head, "No changes. The town concert is scheduled for 2 months later, which happens to be different from He Qing's." "That's good. I will accompany you two to the competition. It's time to verify the results of these 3 years of practice." He Qing and Zhang Zuli looked at each other when they heard this, and then one blushed and looked away, and the other lowered her head shyly. Han Wenwen looked at the 3 curiously just like she did that year, but this time she couldn't stay out of it, and there was a hint of jealousy in her eyes. Arriving at the school gate, she saw Lin Yingjin and Lin Xiaoli waiting at the gate. Her mother smiled and said, "Is Ranran out of school?" "And Qing, Lily, Wenwen. I'm here to pick you up." Lin Yingjin laughed and thought that he had been watching at the gate for so long, and it seemed that only his son was surrounded by so many beautiful girls. Lin Zhengren was curious, "Mom and Dad? Why are you here?" Lin Yingjin replied, "Isn't it your graduation today? It just so happens that your mom and I have nothing to do, so we cooked a big meal at home to celebrate your junior high school graduation." Han Wenwen, Zhang Zuli, and He Qing greeted their uncle and aunt in a restrained manner when they saw them. They said in unison, "Hello, uncle and aunt." Lin Xiaoli was used to it. "Hello, hello. By the way, Xiao Qing, are you going back this afternoon?" Xiao Heqing nodded. "Yes, the car is at 3 p.m. she whispered to Han Wenwen. "Wenwen, your uncle is still doing business in the north this year." Han Wenwen nodded. "Yes, I definitely can't go back again, but he called me yesterday and said that he seems to stop doing it after entering high school. I will tell you if there are any changes." Xiao Heqing was surprised. "Really? Okay," he smiled and nodded. The little fox obviously also felt that he should tell Qing that he lived alone in high school. Lin Xiaoli clapped her hands. "That's perfect, let's go to Aunt's house for a celebration meal. And let Ranran send you off one by one in the afternoon. In addition, Aunt bought a new car today, just in time to take you for a ride." Lin Zhengren was embarrassed, but on such a day, his parents were ready, so he naturally wouldn't say anything to spoil the fun. It wasn't the first time for the 3 girls to go to Lin Zhengren's house, so they didn't refuse. They said together, "Thank you, uncle and aunt." The 4 of them got into Lin Yingjin and Lin Xiaoli's cars respectively. They went to Lin Zhengren's house for graduation lunch. When they got home, the 3 girls politely helped their elders with things like serving dishes and cutting fruits. Lin Zhengren felt that the kitchen was really lively. However, Lin Xiaoli and Lin Yingjin only thought about celebrating graduation, and only remembered that the 3 of them did come here often, but they forgot that this was the first time the 3 girls came to their house together. When the steaming hot food was placed on the table, the meal officially began. Looking at the various delicious ingredients, Lin Zhengren saw his mother start eating, and he was just about to pick up his chopsticks, but Xiao Heqing habitually peeled the shrimp shells and put the shrimp meat into Lin Zhengren's bowl. "Lin Zhengren, you eat." Although Zhang Zuli didn't admit it, she took the initiative this year and took the initiative to pick up food for Lin Zhengren. "Big fool, try this. Auntie made it very delicious." Han Wenwen was sitting next to Lin Zhengren at the time. She didn't know whether she was jealous or wanted to join in the fun. She also picked up a piece of ribs and put it on Lin Sehengren's plate. "Student Lin Sehengren, eat ribs?" The three girls looked at each other and then at Lin Sehengren. Mom and Dad were stunned. Lin Xiaoli leaned over and whispered in her husband's ear, "Oh no, we didn't mean to do bad things, did we? I just wanted to treat the little ones to dinner." Lin Yingjin also whispered, "I was so happy that Ranran got full marks in all subjects that I forgot about it. There will be problems if the three of them sit together." The couple looked at each other and suddenly understood and asked together, "Whose dish do you think Ranran will eat first?" At the table, everyone looked at Lin Sehengren intently, staring at the way he picked up the chopsticks. "Thanks to the big brother Feng Yuxiu for the reward of 1,000 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother Kimodikamodi for the reward of 500 starting coins. Thanks to Ziz Hiffen for the 500 starting coins. Thanks to a Clockwork Orange Dream Fast update for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to 60-eyed Prodigy for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to 202,311 end of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end 922,046 inches for the 100 starting coins." Chapter 79 Lin Sehengren's Child Marriage. The gazes of the five people made Lin Sehengren look exhausted. He could find something to do even when having lunch. "Why are you all looking at me? Take the dishes that were passed to me back and eat your own." The three girls blinked their eyes and were indifferent. Until Lin Sehengren looked at Xiao Heking. Xiao Heking was so scared that she had to take the prawns back to eat them herself. She didn't dare to resist Lin Sehengren's words. take it back," she said timidly. She looked at Jiang Zuli again. Although Jiang Zuli usually talked back to Lin Sehengren, she only talked and didn't dare to make Lin Sehengren angry. "Got it." Finally, it was Han Wenwen. Lin Sehengren looked at her. "And you?" Han Wenwen took the ribs back and nibbled them herself. Blinking, pretending nothing happened. Lin Sehengren then looked at his father and mother, and his father and mother laughed because of the atmosphere. Lin Sehengren looked helpless. "Mom and Dad, can't we just eat well? Why are you two joining in the fun?" Lin Yingjin laughed. "By the way, the girls still have soup over there. Ranran, you can also have some soup." Lin Sehengren responded and was about to reach out to take the soup spoon, but he saw that Xiao Heking and Jiang Zuli had already reached out their hands in advance. They said in unison, "I'll serve you some." The two girls held the spoons at the same time and looked at each other awkwardly. Lin Yingjin, Lin Xiaoli, the couple said in their hearts at the same time, "This lunch is not very delicious." Only Lin Sehengren picked up the dishes and ate them contentedly. "I said you can eat your own. I can just serve myself." They started to give each other the spoon. Lin Yingjin muttered to his wife, "Don't say, Ranran really has the demeanor of the head of the family. It's also thanks to his strong temper that he can suppress these girls." Lin Sehengren naturally heard his father's muttering. After all, he is not an ordinary person. "Dad," Lin Yingjin laughed again, eat, everyone, pick up some food, don't be polite." The couple felt really strange during this lunch. Usually when Wenwen, Qing, and Lily came home alone, the scene was very harmonious. But once they sat together, no one could say a word. Only when Lin Yingjin and Lin Xiaoli occasionally said something did the girls respond. After lunch, the three girls helped their elders wash the dishes and pots, so enthusiastic. It was at this time that Lin Sehengren heard his father Lin Yingjin's cell phone ringing and reminded him. Lin Yingjin took a look at the incoming call and found that it was his father's call, so he quickly answered. "Hello, Dad? What's up?" Lin Sehengren's grandfather said on the phone. "Son, I'm at the gate of your community. Can you come and pick me up?" "Ah. Dad, you're in our community." Lin Sehengren's grandfather. "Well, I missed Ranran and came to see him. By the way, I have something to tell him. Ranran should be at home, right? Isn't junior high school on vacation?" "Yes, junior high school is on vacation, so Ranran and I will go down to pick you up." Lin Sehengren, who was wiping the table, heard his father and grandfather chatting. "My grandpa is here." Lin Yingjin washed his hands and changed his shoes. "Well, your grandpa is at the gate of the community. Come with me to pick him up." "Okay." Lin Sehengren also went to the gate to change his shoes. The three little girls turned their heads when they heard the conversation between the two. But they just took a look and continued to help Lin Xiaoli. Lin Xiaoli asked her husband, "Why did our dad come here this time so suddenly?" Lin Yingjin opened the door. "I don't know, I guess he just missed Ranran. I'll go pick him up first." Lin Sehengren accompanied his father to the gate of the community and returned home with his healthy grandfather. On the way, The grandfather looked at Lin Sehengren with joy. Zio Ranran has grown so tall now? It feels like we haven't seen each other for only half a year, but you look different every time. Lin Sehengren smiled. He did grow a little taller in the 9th grade, not much? By the way, Grandpa, my dad said you have something to talk to me about. Grandpa nodded. Yes, there's something. I'll tell you when we get upstairs. It's not a big deal. I had forgotten about it, but you got almost full marks in the high school entrance examination this time. He was a little proud of his grandson when he said this. Didn't you get the top score in the town? I talked about you with a few old comrades at a gathering, and then I remembered something. What is it? Dad, just tell me directly. Lin Yingjin was confused. The three of them were talking when they arrived at the door. Lin Yingjin helped to open the door. At this moment, the three girls in the family plus Lin Xiaoli heard the sound of the door opening and hurried to the door to greet Grandpa. Grandpa held the handrail of the stairs and walked into the door and answered, "Didn't I tell you before? When I was young, I was a soldier and had a good relationship with an old guy, but at that time, you and her daughter were very different in age, so I could only arrange a baby marriage for Ranran. We talked about this at the party, and he said that his granddaughter seemed to go to the same school as Ranran." Grandpa's footsteps froze at the door, looking at the three beautiful girls in the room except his daughter-in-law. The last two words finally jumped out, and there was also the last sentence. High school, I want them to meet. If they have a good impression, they can try to fall in love. At this moment, Lin Yingjin, Lin Xiaoli, Han Wenwen, He Qing, Zhang Zuli and even Lin Sehengren opened their eyes wide. For the first time, everyone uttered that word at the same time, baby marriage. After being shocked, Han Wenwen and the other two reacted and greeted Grandpa. Hello, Grandpa. Soon, Grandpa sat on the sofa and Lin Xiaoli brought him some water. Han Wenwen, Zhang Zuli and He Qing stood aside and looked at Lin Sehengren with jealousy. It was obvious that they had never heard of this matter. Lin Sehengren was also looking at them. What are you looking at? This is the first time I've heard of this. Grandpa blinked. He didn't expect it to be so awkward. These three girls are, Lin Yingjin introduced, Dad, these three are Ranran's good friends. Grandpa looked at the three girls who were jealous of his grandson, and whispered to his son, are you sure they are just good friends? Lin Yingjin swallowed and whispered in his father's ear, Dad, you are asking knowingly? Do you think they are just good friends? By the way, what about Ranran's child marriage? Why don't I remember it? Grandpa looked at the three girls again and frowned. What can you remember? But can I still say it now? Han Wenwen spoke first. Grandpa. What did you say just now about Lin Sehengren's child marriage? We are all very curious. Zhang Zuli and He Qing also nodded, very focused. Yes, we are all very curious. Grandpa was sweating profusely, thinking that he was worried that his grandson would not have a partner. Now it seems that he was worrying in vain. Actually, girls, let's talk about Ranran's fiancée. The three of them said in unison. Why is she a fiancée again? Grandpa changed his words. Oh no, child engagement. I mean child engagement. Although I arranged a child engagement for Ranran at the beginning, and my old comrade was also willing, but whether it will succeed in the end depends on Ranran, right? I just want to talk about this matter this time. The air was a little silent. Grandpa felt that it was amazing for him to encounter such an interesting scene at his age. Oh, right. He took out a photo from his arms. I have a photo of that girl here. My old comrade gave it to me. It's a photo of her when she was in junior high school. Ranran, do you want to see it? Lin Xiaoli took the photo and looked at it, and the three girls hurried over. They were all very surprised after seeing it. So beautiful. The girl in the photo is wearing a pure white dress on the grass and holding a large sun hat with one hand. Although it is only a side profile, it can be seen that she is very beautiful. A pair of cold eyes look into the distance, and her long black hair is fixed in the photo with the wind. Thanks to enthusiastic citizen Wang Mutu for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to 20220130001706173 inches for the 100 starting coins. It should still be available on the 11th. Please read it and vote for it every day. Chapter 80. What does Brother Sehengren mean when he says he cares? Lin Sehengren took an apple from the side and ate it. Human's primitive curiosity made him take a look. He commented without any emotion, chewing the apple, well, it's very beautiful. The three girls immediately looked at Lin Sehengren. Each one was more jealous than the other. Mom Lin Xiaoli grinned, admiring her son's courage. Ranran, You really dare to comment in front of them? Lin Zhengren answered his mother casually. I'm just telling the truth, and why is it okay for you to say it's beautiful, but not for me to say it's beautiful? Little He Qing pouted unhappily. Zhang Zuli turned her head and snorted in anger. Han Wenwen stared at Lin Zhengren and rolled her eyes at him, as if she didn't want to pay attention to him. Since little He Qing had to leave by car in the afternoon, the four of them didn't spend much time at home even with this incident. Before leaving, Lin Zhengren said goodbye to his grandfather, and went to the station with Han Wenwen and Zhang Zuli to see her off. When little He Qing was leaving, she dragged her suitcase and looked at Lin Zhengren, who came to the ticket gate to see her off alone. See you in high school, Lin Zhengren. Lin Zhengren hummed as a farewell. Drive slowly on the way, and send me a message when you get home. Little He Qing nodded, but just after she had walked a few steps with her suitcase, she suddenly walked back in a tangled manner, came to Lin Zhengren and asked in a low voice that only the two of them could hear, do you really think that girl is pretty? I also look good in a white dress and a sun hat. I'm not ugly. If you like to see it, I'll wear it and show it to you slowly. Lin Zhengren was embarrassed. I'm free? And that's just an ordinary comment. I know you are also very good looking. Get in the car quickly, little He Qing said, and was still a little jealous, but she felt better when she heard him praise her for her good looks. Her almond-shaped eyes stared at Lin Zhengren eagerly. See you in high school, bye. She waved at Lin Zhengren, and then waved at Han Wenwen and Zhang Zuli in the distance. Wenwen. Zhang Zuli. I'm leaving now, see you at the new school. Everyone said goodbye to each other, and Xiao He Qing took the high-speed train home. As for Zhang Zuli, Lin Zhengren looked back at her jealous look, came to her side and gently tapped her head. It's so late, you should go home too. Zhang Zuli covered her head and turned her head. Why are you hitting me? Just go. She shook her twin ponytails and turned back and said, don't forget to find me in a few days to practice singing with me. Lin Zhengren nodded. Zhang Zuli went to hail a taxi, but when the car came, Zhang Zuli suddenly turned back and clenched her fists in front of Lin Zhengren. She closed her eyes and vented her emotions. You're so fickle. After that, she quickly ran back to the taxi and ran away. Lin Zhengren was speechless, and only Han Wenwen was left. Han Wenwen covered her face and strangely lost her jealousy. She just changed her address. Classmate Lin Zhengren, you can't send me back, right? It's time for you to play games with me this week. The little fox has turned evil. Lin Zhengren was tired. If you have this expression, I will go home. I don't have to accompany you. Han Wenwen immediately broke down, jealously opened her confusing fox eyes and turned her head unhappily. Who asked Brother Zhengren to praise other girls for being pretty? And there's even a child marriage that I don't even know about. If I don't know, you definitely don't know. Besides, what era is this? Having a child marriage doesn't mean that I will definitely do anything with her. Han Wenwen was suddenly stunned, walked to Lin Zhengren and tilted her head. Brother Zhengren actually explained it to me. Is this Brother Zhengren coaxing me because he is afraid that I will be jealous? Lin Zhengren really wanted to complain. This guy's brain circuit is always more strange than others. That's what I think anyway, Han Wenwen suddenly said very seriously, but Brother Zhengren underestimates his own charm. In my opinion, if a girl has a certain connection with Brother Zhengren, the other party may not like you for a day or two because of personality, experience and other issues, but if it lasts for a long time, even I can't stand it. Can other girls stand it? Han Wenwen poked Lin Zhengren's chest with her slender fingers. I don't know how many vixens I have stopped in junior high school alone. Lin Zhengren stopped talking to her and walked out of the station. You can actually say that others are vixens. Lin Zhengren hailed a taxi. And you think too much? Even if what you said is right, I won't chat with every girl I have time to talk to her. I will only have contact with a few girls I care about. Han Wenwen was not convinced. There's more than one vixen in the world. I am at most the one that Brother Zhengren likes the most. She suddenly found her blind spot halfway through her speech. She stopped in shock and blushed. Wait? Care? Lin Zhengren really didn't want to talk to this fox. Pretend I didn't say anything. Brother Zhengren, please explain clearly. What does it mean to care? Does it mean that although Brother Zhengren does not admit it, he still cares about us in his heart? In the bathroom of a villa in Zidong City. The girl in black pajamas gathered her hair into a strand and looked at herself in the mirror with cold eyes. She was combing her hair with a comb. The beautiful girl with a side ponytail behind her but no expression was holding a list. The school has sent us the high school transcripts. This time you will be the female representative to speak, and the boy is a man named Lin Zhengren. The girl combing her hair was called Jiang Jin, and she hummed softly. The girl with a side ponytail hesitated. It's just that what's wrong? It's just that the transcript shows that your grades are behind his, but you are not much different from him. Jiang Jin paused in combing her hair. Let me see it. She reached out and took the transcript. She found that the boy named Lin Suhengren had the same grades as her. Almost all of them were first in all subjects, except that her score in Chinese was a little lower than his. The girl behind said, also, Grandpa just sent you an email saying that he sent you the information of your childhood sweetheart. Do you want to take a look? Grandpa said that he and you go to the same high school. You can meet him first. Jiang Jin stared at the name on the transcript. I'm not interested. It's a different year and Grandpa still ordered that kind of thing for me. But out of courtesy, I will refuse the boy in person when I meet him in the future. As for this guy named Lin Suhengren, it doesn't matter if his grades are higher than mine. I don't care much about such things. Maybe he is just lucky. Anyway, there will be a class placement test after school starts, and we will know what his grades are by then. The girl with the side ponytail took the transcript and thought, if you don't care, you won't ask about the results every day before. Well, you will definitely surpass him by then, thanks to the Big Brother 201905101732230077 inches for the 1,500 starting coins. Thanks to the Big Brother Lonely Walk for the 500 starting coins. Thanks to 20200220112924791 inches for the reward of 100 starting coins. Chapter 81. What I said long ago. The vacation before school started passed quickly. Although Lin Suhengren also accompanied Jiang Zuli to practice singing, he basically stayed in Han Wenwen's rental house most of the time. After all, high school is no longer in the category of compulsory education, so there are more places to spend money. Fortunately, it is a public high school, so it is not much more. Lin Suhengren was lying on Han Wenwen's bed reading a book. The little fox next to him was wearing denim shorts and short-sleeved shirts and packing daily necessities for high school. Clothes, skirts and some messy things were packed into the suitcase. Brother Suhengren, do you think we will be in the same class in high school? Probably not. Ah. Why not? Han Wenwen was curious. Lin Suhengren turned a page of the book. Because there is a class placement test in high school, you don't have a high talent for learning and you don't use it all in learning, so it's normal that you can't be in the same class with me. Han Wenwen heard this and got up and sat down next to Lin Suhengren. Are the placement exams in high schools? Yeah, Brother Suhengren really knows everything. Han Wenwen lay diagonally next to Lin Suhengren, and the two were almost close together. Do you think you will be in the same class with your fiancé by then? Lin Suhengren turned another page of the book. It's been a month. Why are you still talking about this? And how would I know about this if you ask me? I don't know how she is doing in her studies. After saying that, Lin Suhengren looked at her speechlessly, because the little fox's dishonest fingers were rubbing back and forth on his belly. Han Wenwen, I'll give you 3 seconds to take your hands off me. 3, 2, Han Wenwen stopped moving her fingers after counting to 1, took back her hands, bit her lips and said coquettishly, you're so fierce. But Brother Suhengren actually has abdominal muscles. I've hardly seen you exercise. There are so many things you haven't seen. By the way, are you lying here after you've packed your things? Han Wenwen closed her eyes and rested her forehead on Lin Suhengren's shoulder. Why are you in such a hurry? School starts in a few days. When school starts, I won't be able to lie on the same bed with Brother Suhengren. I have to lie down for a while now. Lin Suhengren, then can you lie farther away from me? Isn't there still a lot of room in the bed? Do you have to lie on me? The little fox opened her eyes and looked at him. What is Brother Suhengren afraid of? Anyway, no matter how close I get, Brother Suhengren won't be shy. She deliberately blew a fragrant breath into Lin Suhengren's ear. Right. Lin Suhengren stretched out his hand and slapped her on the head. Han Wenwen cried out in pain and covered her forehead. It hurts. Lin Suhengren asked a serious question. The money you have now should be enough to last you until you finish your first year of high school. Right? Are you tight on money? Han Wenwen answered aggrievedly. Although I have bought a lot of things in the past few days, I still have 10,000 yuan left. Public high school doesn't cost much, so it's enough. Anyway, does Brother Suhengren need pocket money? Otherwise, I will give Brother Suhengren a few thousand yuan for pocket money. Anyway, I don't need so much money in high school. Lin Suhengren looked at her. In the past year or so, Han Wenwen's gaming level has reached the master level from Suburban Emerald. The number of fans has reached about 500,000. which is good for a video blogger who does not show his face and only relies on gaming skills and voice. He has made tens of thousands of yuan in money. And because of the system, Lin Zhanggren naturally got double the income that Han Wenwen earned. There is now nearly 100,000 yuan in the card. Before, Lin Zhanggren was curious about how the system gave him money, but in the end, he could only say that the system is the system, and there are 10,000 reasonable reasons to give him money. Just keep your money for yourself. Didn't I tell you when I was teaching you that I didn't need your money? Han Wenwen continued, I don't want money, I only want people. I still remember what you said. She suddenly let out a long sigh, but it seems that Brother Zhanggren doesn't want my people either. Lin Zhanggren went back to reading the book, thinking that he had actually wanted them since he signed the contract with them. After all, if these 3 girls were promoted, he would get a lot of benefits. How can there be such a thing as whether I want you or not? Aren't you mine? You're supposed to follow me all your life. You're already mine, so why is there still a question of whether you want me or not? Han Wenwen sighed habitually. Who knew that the next minute would suddenly be quiet? In the silence of the room, Han Wenwen suddenly opened her eyes with a red face. Ah! What did Brother Zhanggren just say? Lin Zhanggren added, by the way, are you going to pack up? The little fox sat up in shock from her dying illness, blushing and shyly looking at Lin Zhanggren. Wait, packing up is not important. I'm asking what Brother Zhanggren just said? Did I hear it wrong? Lin Zhanggren glanced at her and continued to read as if nothing had happened. I don't know what this guy is thinking. What did I say? Isn't it the same sentence as before? The premise of my helping you is that you will be mine in the future. What's so strange about this? Otherwise, why would I help you for so long? I even said that I would take care of you for the rest of my life. Han Wenwen's heartbeat had never been so fast before. She slowly covered her mouth with both hands. Her eyes were a little red with shyness, looking at Lin Zhanggren who was flipping through the book. It turned out that He Qing didn't understand it wrong at that time. Brother Zhanggren really confessed his love a long time ago, and she had agreed at that time. The little fox's non-existent tail swung shyly and asked in a low voice, so, in Brother Zhanggren's eyes, have we been doing unnecessary things during those years in junior high school? All meaningless things. Even the gift she gave in 8th grade didn't matter whether she gave it or not, because she was Brother Zhanggren's woman. Lin Zhanggren turned another page of the book. He really didn't want to chat about useless things with these little girls all day long. How should I know what you were thinking about all day long? The 3 years of junior high school should have been a stage for accumulating strength, but you spent 2 whole years doing things that I couldn't understand. I always wanted you to grow up more and do what you want to do when you grow up. But what you thought in those 2 years was completely different from what I thought. Han Wenwen was puzzled, but if that's the case, then why doesn't Brother Zhanggren want me to be so close to you? Logically speaking, since he is yours, this matter should be. Lin Zhanggren sat up and repeated this sentence countless times, because you, a stinky fox, disturbed my reading. Is it difficult to understand such a simple question? Han Wenwen shyly covered her quilt and shrank into the corner, secretly looking at him with her fox eyes. This is the first time I think Brother Zhanggren is so scary. Why didn't you make it clear earlier about such an important thing? Lin Zhanggren repeated word by word with contempt in his eyes. These 6 words, follow me for the rest of my life. Anyone who is not a fool knows what it means, right? Han Wenwen reacted again. Wait, so Brother Zhanggren actually said this to the 3 girls, so what? And didn't you know that I helped them a long time ago? I didn't hide it from you. Didn't He Qing tell you a long time ago? Han Wenwen turned around and snorted in anger, hugging the quilt. Why are you so confident? She whispered. I said that my initial hunch was right. Brother Zhanggren is really fickle. She pinched the quilt jealously, and it was not just ordinary fickleness. A few days later, Lin Zhanggren, Zhang Zuli and Han Wenwen set off for the high school in the city with their luggage. However, after the exchange that day, Han Wenwen's plan for high school changed. The new goal is to never let Brother Zhanggren say that to other girls again, otherwise what will happen after graduation? Thanks to the big brother of Wanggu Hangzhou for the reward of 300 starting coins. Daily request for follow-up reading and monthly tickets. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82, First Meeting at the School Gate. Originally, Lin Yingjin drove the three little ones to high school, but he happened to have something to do at work that day. So he had to hire a van. Fortunately, Lin's Hengren was leading the way, so both Lin Yingjin and Zhang Zuli's parents were relieved. The back of the van was full of luggage. The order of the back seat, from left to right, was Han Wenwen, Lin's Hengren, and Zhang Zuli. Little guys, are you sure you didn't forget anything? Then let's go. The driver started the car and headed towards the city. While driving, Han Wenwen opened a large bag of sandwich biscuits and handed it to Lin's Hengren first, but Lin's Hengren refused. Then he handed another piece to Zhang Zuli. Lily, here. Zhang Zuli was stunned for a moment, with a strange look in her eyes. Lily. What kind of name is this? Han Wenwen, don't you usually call me classmate Zhang Zuli? Han Wenwen smiled. From now on, the name will change. I will call you Lily in the future, which is more intimate. Zhang Zuli took the small bag of biscuits without understanding and said thank you. She didn't care about the name, but it was so intimate all of a sudden that she got goosebumps. Whatever you want, of course. After taking it and opening the biscuits, he still asked Lin's Hengren in a low voice, what's wrong with Han Wenwen? Lin's Hengren didn't know what the fox was thinking. How do I know if you ask me? Han Wenwen also opened a bag of biscuits and ate them, and asked Lin's Hengren, classmate Lin's Hengren really doesn't want to eat. Well, I just had breakfast. Okay then. The little fox looked at the scenery and chewed the biscuit slowly, with a lot on his mind. Before, she was a firm member of the He Qing party, but after what happened a few days ago, it was obviously not realistic to split into parties. After all, Zhang Zuli has long been Hengren's lover, so it's a done deal for her to be sisters with Zhang Zuli. Oh wait, it seems that I can still be Zhao Qing's party? Because Zhao Qing can be the main wife, and I can be the most favored one. Anyway, I just want to be the one that Hengren loves the most. Thinking of this, Han Wenwen bit the biscuit angrily. Although she can accept Lin's Hengren to have more girlfriends under special circumstances. But 3 girlfriends, isn't it a bit too much? Han Wenwen, who had that kind of childhood, is actually quite paranoid about love. She is so paranoid that once she really likes and identifies someone, even if the other person is not a good person, Han Wenwen will follow him wholeheartedly and will never leave him again. But this also means that she is more jealous than others because in her heart, Lin's Hengren is the only person she can't leave. Lin's Hengren, who was sitting in the middle, listened to the crunching sounds next to him and saw a fox who wanted to chew the biscuit into pieces and swallow it all into his stomach. Han Wenwen, what's wrong with this biscuit? Why is it so noisy to eat a biscuit? Han Wenwen looked at Lin's Hengren with her fox eyes and smiled. Nothing, I just compared it to my classmate Lin's Hengren. I think people who are fickle should be chewed and eaten, but I can't really eat you, so I can only use biscuits instead. Zhang Zuli, who was on the other side, heard this and thought Han Wenwen was talking about Lin's Hengren's child marriage. Yes, Han Wenwen was a firm supporter of He Qing, so when He Qing's position was threatened, as a good girlfriend, she would definitely be angry. Han Wenwen is right, fickle boys should be chewed and eaten. She supported Han Wenwen. After saying that, she also ate the biscuit with a crunching sound, looked at Lin's Hengren proudly, and turned her head to snort. Lin's Hengren was speechless and ignored these 2 imaginative guys. The phone rang. It was Zhao Qing calling. After picking up, a soft voice came out. Lin's Hengren? When will you arrive? I'm waiting for you at the school gate. Lin's Hengren looked out the window. It will be there in 10 minutes. The van arrived at the new school soon. The 3 were a little surprised when they arrived at the brand new high school. Although the public high school is not too luxurious, the spacious facade and the statue of Confucius erected in the school are still much more impressive than the junior high school in the small town, which makes people feel fresh. Zhao Qing, who had been standing at the door for a long time, saw the 3 people waving at Lin's Hengren and others. Lin's Hengren. Wenwen. Zhang Zuli, I'm here. The 3 walked over, and Han Wenwen took the lead to hug Zhao Qing. The best friends were very close. Zhang Zuli also chatted with He Qing for a while, asking her when she arrived. Suddenly, some voices came. Look at the 3 pretty girls over there, they are really pretty, especially the one with her hair down. I have never seen such a pretty girl. She looks a bit like a little fox. A student passing by sighed softly when he saw Han Wenwen, Zhao Qing and Zhang Zuli, and his face blushed. Lin's Hengren was not surprised by the compliments from passers-by. Pretty girls are indeed popular everywhere. He just looked at the 3 girls who were chatting. Lin Zhengren wanted to sigh that the three of them had not changed much since junior high school. They were all little girls. But after observation, he found that it seemed not to be the case. Maybe it was because they were often together. Lin Zhengren never realized that he didn't know when the three of them had grown so mature. Sure enough, 16 years old is a turning point for girls. For example, apart from the slender figures of the three of them, Xiao He Qing obviously has a more curvaceous upper body than other girls. Han Wenwen's waist-to-hip ratio is very different from that of ordinary girls. Now she can even see her natural advantages when she wears a pleated skirt, not to mention wearing those slim clothes at home. As for Zhang Zuli, well, she is no different from junior high school. Zhang Zuli turned around and saw Lin Zhengren looking at this side, and walked over with a red face. Big idiot! Why are you standing here in a daze? What are you thinking about? Lin Zhengren suddenly felt sorry for this guy at this moment. Maybe this is the fate of being its son dear. He reached out and touched the guy's head. Nothing, you should eat more and nourish your body, maybe there's still a chance for a second spring. Zhang Zuli certainly didn't know what Lin Zhengren was thinking. Seeing him touching her head and saying such things for no apparent reason, she blushed. What do you mean? You suddenly care about me so much? Do you have anything to ask of me? Lin Zhengren took his hand back. Nothing, I just said whatever I thought of. Zhang Zuli blushed even more when she heard this. What happened to the big fool after he went to high school? Why was he so gentle? She lowered her head and put her hands behind her back. I usually eat a lot. Do you think I'm too thin? I was originally thinking about losing weight this year. Now that you've said that, should I lose weight or not? There's no need to lose weight at all. Before she finished speaking, a Rolls-Royce suddenly stopped by the roadside at the school gate, and all the freshmen looked towards the car. The car door opened, and a tall and cold girl with long hair and long sleeves got out of the car in a short skirt and long sleeves. The girl had a delicate face and a pair of icy eyes that didn't care about the sight of people around her. She walked towards the school very elegantly. Next to her was a pretty girl in jeans and a side ponytail, who also had no expression. The two of them were walking one in front and one behind. People at the school gate became even more curious. Rolls-Royce. Is this girl's family so rich? And she's so pretty. I don't know, but she should be a freshman, not a senior. Han Wenwen, He Qing and others also saw the two people. Little He Qing commented from the bottom of her heart, what a beautiful girl, but what is the Rolls-Royce that everyone is talking about? Han Wenwen looked at her best friend helplessly and pointed to the car that had already driven away. That's the name of that car, and the price is basically several million. So expensive. Han Wenwen looked at the girl's profile. Well, but I don't care whether it's expensive or not. The main thing is, Xiao Qing, do you find that this girl is a little familiar, as if you have seen her somewhere? Little He Qing exclaimed. No way? I have no impression. Zhang Zuli also came over at this time. I also think she seems a little familiar, but I just can't remember where I have seen her. Lin Zhengren blinked, and suddenly he was speechless. He recognized it. Little He Qing said blankly, after you mentioned it, I seem to have seen her somewhere. Does she look a bit like the girl in the photo? Thanks to the boss of Wang Lizzie's puppy for the reward of 1,500 starting coins. Thanks to 150,629,201,744,156 for the reward of 500 Kidian coins. Chapter 83, Too Desperate Crush on Zhang Jin. The three girls blinked and looked at the girl's back at the same time. When she disappeared, they turned back to look at Lin Zhengren at the same time. Han Wenwen was still the first to speak, with a gentle tone. Lin Zhengren is so lucky the little fox's claws were exposed, and his face was full of murderous intent. It was only because Lin Zhengren's status was usually higher than these guys, otherwise the situation on the first day of school would not be able to survive. After this little fight, they went into the school together to register and face the first opening exam in the afternoon. After the girl named Zhang Jin walked into the campus, the assistant named Fang Meng who followed behind her reminded Zhang Jin, Jin, the class placement test will start in the afternoon. If you feel nervous, you can take a break at noon. Zhang Jin continued to walk forward and said coldly, there is no need. The class placement test is just a little harder than the high school entrance examination. For me, I am not nervous, then do as you think. Anyway, the student named Lin Zhengren is just lucky, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Fang Meng, who grew up with Zhang Jin, didn't know how to comment on the second young lady who stayed up late to study for the entrance exam last night. She was obviously a person who cared a lot about winning or losing, but she always showed that she was not interested in winning or losing. It was outrageous. The class placement test in the afternoon lasted longer than expected. Before the test, Linz Hengren thought that these three guys would most likely be in the same class based on their strengths, but none of them believed it. Little He Qing clenched her fists and was very motivated. I will definitely do well in the exam and try to be in the same class with you. Zhang Zuli also puffed out her chest and said confidently, I am in the upper middle class in junior high school, and I will definitely be admitted to the best class. Although the little fox didn't want to admit it, he was still clear about his own strength. Maybe I will also perform beyond my normal level. Linz Hengren didn't discourage these three guys. Come on, everyone sat down according to the seats arranged by the teachers. After Linz Hengren found his seat, he unexpectedly discovered that the girl with long hair draped over his shoulders was sitting next to him in the morning. After all, that beautiful but cold face was very impressive. Zhang Jin sat in her seat, took out a carbon pen, and glanced at Linz Hengren with curiosity and surprise. I thought, isn't this the boy named Linz Hengren? Exactly the same as in the photo. Most boys are afraid to look at beautiful girls, but Linz Hengren, who is a second-generation man, is obviously not afraid of staring at these little girls, and Zhang Jin is even less afraid, so the two of them just stared at each other, looking at each other silently for a while. After the exam started, they all retracted their gazes and started answering questions. The girl felt that she would never lose to anyone. She briefly reviewed all the questions, and her lips curled up slightly, thinking that the opening exam was really just like that. It was easy to get the first place in such questions. But she didn't notice that Linz Hengren was bored and almost casually wrote the answers with a pen, because he had memorized these questions by heart when he was in the 3rd grade of elementary school. And the high school questions were relatively fixed, so his brain was even too lazy to use them to answer the questions at this moment. Muscle memory. Of course, except for these two people, the others were walking on thin ice when facing this exam. Zio He Qing was biting the end of the carbon pen at this moment, and felt that these questions were so difficult. Zhang Zuli was sweating profusely, surprised that she had never seen some of the questions before. Han Wenwen directly supported her face with her hands and said to herself, studying is really different from playing games. If you can't do it, you can't do it. There is no much luck. After several hours of fierce battle, outside the examination room, Linz Hengren saw 3 people coming out of the examination room with some disappointment. Curiously asked, how did you do in the exam? It seems that you are not very satisfied. The 3 girls looked at each other and sighed silently. The dream was shattered. Sure enough, when the school's class list came out, Zhang Zuli was in the same class as Han Wenwen and He Qing. When Linz Hengren arrived at his class, he saw the familiar aloof girl and the girl with a side ponytail who always followed her. The results of the opening exam were announced a few days after the class was divided. The teacher posted the results on the wall. Everyone gathered around to see how they did on the exam, but Linz Hengren just took a glance and didn't care. As expected, he got first place. As for Zhang Jin, she stood there early and stared at the report card. Her cold eyes were in disbelief, and her red lips were tightly closed. Assistant Fang Meng also opened her eyes wide, which was rare, and murmured, Zhang Jin is second, Linz Hengren is first, and this time it's not just the difference in Chinese, but also a few points in mathematics. This person got full marks in all subjects except Chinese. Zhang Jin slowly clenched her jade hands into fists. Fang Meng asked, Qianqian, are you okay? Maybe he was just lucky again. Zhang Jin turned around and looked at Linz Hengren, who was sitting by the window and reading a book out of boredom. Thinking of the eye contact in the examination room that day, she breathed a sigh of relief as if she had lied to herself. She unclenched her fists and left the score sheet and returned to her seat. What can happen to me? I'm fine. It's just a small class placement test. Maybe others are just absolutely gifted in this aspect of learning, the girl chattered, and I'm all round. Anyway, there will be military training in a few days. I heard that there will be sports competitions at that time. I think people who are good at studying should not have advantages in sports, right? Fang Meng agreed, that's right. If you study well, you must read more. Reading more will inevitably lead to less time for exercise. Qianqian, who has to balance reading, sports and piano every day, is not on the same track as people who specialize in one direction. Zhang Jin sat in her seat and looked out the window with cold eyes, so it's nothing to worry about if your grades are not as good as others. Suddenly she repeated, I don't care at all, Military training life officially began a few days later. The school distributed military training uniforms, and the freshmen of the first year of high school began a 2-week military training. The sports competition that Zhang Jin mentioned was held a week after the military training began. In order to encourage everyone to exercise a sense of unity, the school launched a fierce sports competition. The men and women were separated, and the first game was a short-distance race. Lin Zhengren was standing outside the field at that time. Looking at the participating girls who tied their ponytails and waited for the start, Zhang Jin's eyes were particularly tenacious. That look gave people a feeling that they were risking their lives and had to win. However, this girl was indeed very capable. Lin Zhengren could see from her starting posture that she had definitely received professional guidance. She was ahead of others from the beginning, so it was no surprise that the first place was ahead. The physical education teacher was holding the stopwatch. Wow! Zhang Jin ran so fast, the result was 14.35 seconds. 1 second less would catch up with the third-level athletes. This result is difficult for boys to run. Zhang Jin was relieved when she heard the result. Feng Meng was also holding the stopwatch and smiled at Zhang Jin, meaning that she ran well and would definitely win this time. The second game was naturally the boys' short-distance race. The boys were very enthusiastic about this kind of sports, but Lin Zhengren was very casual. Because he had tried it in the town before, the so-called increase in strength by the system also increased the strength of the legs. When he was level 40 before, his full strength was 3.7 seconds for 100 meters. Of course, that was before, and he must be stronger now at level 49. But Lin Zhengren was not interested in running so fast, otherwise this wonderful high school life would be completely away from him. Just let it go a little bit. With the start of the pay teacher, Lin Zhengren rushed out at a high speed. Obviously, he was much faster than the other boys, and the pay teacher and other boys were stunned. Even after he reached the finish line, the teacher directly cursed and couldn't help complaining while holding the stopwatch. Fuck, 11 seconds and 11? You are Lin Zhengren, right? If you train well, you can enter the national team. Lin Zhengren was a little speechless when he heard the results, wondering why he was still running so fast, even though he was already running lazily. Zhang Jin, who was standing next to him, heard the results and saw his figure running fast and stood there blankly. Feng Meng also held the stopwatch and was surprised by the other party and couldn't speak. I could only grumble quietly, this boy is really strong. It seems that he is not only good at studying but also handsome. Chapter 84 The original partner of the child marriage. Along with the exclamations and shucks in the class, He Qing, Zhang Zuli and Han Wenwen from class 3 also looked over here. He Qing had actually been secretly following Lin Zhengren's movements. When she saw him first, she cheered. Lin Zhengren is first. Zhang Zuli blinked, also shy. That idiot was really amazing. I was fooled by this guy again, but with his strength, ordinary people definitely can't beat him. Han Wenwen didn't praise him, but observed the calls and heartbeats of the girls around her, especially the eyes inside of the girl from a wealthy family. The little fox looked like Sherlock Holmes. She bit her thumb with her red lips. I always feel that something is going to happen. I have to find a way to nip it in the bud. The sports competition lasted for a day, and several events were competed in succession. At the beginning, Zhang Jin thought that even if she lost the sprint, she could still surpass this boy in sit-ups, long jumps and other fields. Unexpectedly, she didn't win any of them. Moreover, Lin Zhengren didn't even breathe after each competition, but Zhang Jin had already used all her strength. After the game, Zhang Jin, wearing a military training uniform, sat on the steps in a daze, with a cold look in her eyes. She had lost her fighting spirit after being hit by reality. Assistant Feng Meng squatted in front of her, looking at the data she had collected with shame. Qianqian, after my observation, this boy named Lin Zhengren is an absolute genius. He's first class in both physical fitness and coordination, and his academic performance is also very good. Zhang Jin's face was full of despair. Don't tell me, I don't care about these things, Feng Meng explained. In fact, Qianqian, you didn't completely lose to him. Doesn't our school have a freshman party after the military training? Aren't you planning to play the piano and show the video of the show to your uncle? Zhang Jin's eyes suddenly recovered a little and looked at Feng Meng. Feng Meng smiled. Qianqian, you have been practicing piano since elementary school, and you have won the first place in several competitions in junior high school. It can be said that neither study nor sports are your strong points. Piano is the event that others can never crush you. You will definitely not lose when the time comes. Jiang Jin looked at Lin Zhengren, who was standing in the distance watching the game. After the sports game, many girls started to talk to Lin Zhengren. The boy's face was handsome and his body was strong. His temperament was even more overwhelming than his peers. After this game, he really gained a lot of little fans and even seniors. But Jiang Jin said at this time, "No, I checked this person's background briefly, just an ordinary family. If I win the piano competition with him, it will be unfair. After all, he may not have practiced that kind of thing. And what if I lose? At most, I can get the first place in the next mock exam." After that, she got up and went to the bathroom. She seemed to be really indifferent to this matter. Feng Meng blinked and said to herself, "She is still so dishonest, but Qianqian's advantages are obvious. She will never use her strengths to bully others' weaknesses. This is still very likable." Feng Meng got up and followed her. Of course, she also expected some situations. That is, Jiang Jin went home that night and stayed up late in her room to study. It was obvious that she was unbelievable about the double failure of grades and sports, and was preparing for the next battle. It seemed that she was determined to beat that guy next time. Even Jiang Jin's sister was shocked when she came back. "Oh? Qianqian has been studying so hard these days." Feng Meng half bowed to Jiang Jin's sister Jiang Jingxi. "The eldest lady is back. The second lady has been very serious recently and has not been able to sleep for long at night." The so-called eldest lady smiled gently. "It seems that she has met a strong opponent again. Qianqian's competitive spirit is as strong as ever. Xiameng, you don't have to worry about her. Let her study by herself and just go to bed early, okay? Also, I heard from Grandpa that Qianqian had a child engagement. Has she met the other party? What is the other party's character and temperament like?" Feng Meng explained. "The second lady is not interested in this matter and has not met the other party yet." "Well," Jiang Jingxi thought for a while, "if not, I can go to meet her when the time comes. After all, she is Grandpa's old friend. I can't just ignore her and be impolite. Besides, I was originally his fiancée, but because the boy was born late and is the same age as Qianqian, Grandpa arranged him for Qianqian." She finally reminded him, "Remind her about the meeting in the next few days. If Qianqian really doesn't want to see him, forget it. I'll go." Feng Meng nodded. After saying that, Jiang Jingxi turned around and left in her high heels. Her slightly curly waist-length hair swayed slightly with her footsteps and slender figure. The bright sunshine shone from the sky in the early morning of that day. It had been about half a month since the start of school. High school is different from junior high school. Although the boys and girls in junior high school have already sprouted in their hearts about love, some boys at that time still don't have too many ideas about this aspect. At most, they are just beginning to fall in love. But high school is completely different. The adult thoughts of boys and girls are gradually becoming mature, and boys can quickly find out who is more beautiful in the crowd. Which girl will be remembered in their hearts at a glance, and they will know that she will be the focus of the crowd when she smiles. And this half a month is enough for everyone to communicate with each other and find out which class has the most beautiful girls. In the first class of senior high school, after the morning training, the instructor asked everyone to rest for 20 minutes. Although it was autumn, it was still terribly hot after standing outside for a whole morning. The students were all thirsty, and Lin Zhengren sat down to rest. A boy sitting next to him said, "Lin Zhengren, aren't you tired at all after training for a whole morning? I see you didn't sweat much." Lin Zhengren answered the curiosity of the people around him, "It's okay. The main reason is that I've been training for a week and I'm starting to get used to it." The boy put his elbow on Lin Zhengren's shoulder. "It's a habit, but it's still tiring. But you have such a good physique, I guess you're different from us. By the way, do you have a girlfriend? I see that when the girls in our class talk to you, you just deal with them casually and basically ignore them." Lin Zhengren chuckled, "I'm not interested." At this time, another boy named Pen sat over. The main reason is that with the contrast of Jiang Jin and Feng Meng, the other girls in our class don't look pretty. Lin Zhengren is so handsome, I guess he doesn't like them. But do you know? It is said that the class with the most beautiful girls in our first year of high school is class 3. The first boy nodded. "Yes, I know this. There is a girl named He Qing in class 3, right? Very beautiful. She looks so sweet. I've seen her once before." "Wow, that kind of beautiful," the boy named Pen said. "I know He Qing is very pretty, but there is a girl named Jiang Zuli who is cuter with twin ponytails. She is cuter than He Qing." and she has her lively personality. I guess she has become a goddess for a lot of people. When talking about girls, another boy came to join in the fun. The most beautiful one has to be a girl named Han Wenwen. Haven't you heard how many boys have sent love letters to that girl these 2 days? There are even seniors who confess their love to her, but how can a beautiful girl be so easy to pursue? It seems that no one cares about her, and she even says that she already has a boyfriend. In Lin Zhengren's life, there have been countless times when boys in the class came to chat with him. There were even several times when they almost developed into good friends, but in the end, Lin Zhengren was always left alone. The reason is actually very simple. For example, at this moment, the boys were talking about girls, and they saw little He Qing in the distance suddenly shyly coming over with a glass of unopened lemonade to give someone water to drink. Thanks to the big brother of looking at the dark for the reward of 500 starting coins. Chapter 85 Xiao Heqing sends drinks during military training. Little He Qing is now considered one of the hottest pretty girls among the boys, and as soon as she appears, everyone in class looks at her, attracted by her pure and sweet appearance. Who is this girl so pretty? She looks so pretty in her military training uniform. Isn't this He Qing from class 3? Why is she here? She looks like she's delivering something to someone. Does she have a best friend in our class? Or, the boys whispered, many of them were curious about who she was going to approach. At this time, the boy who put his elbow on Lin Zhengren's shoulder and just said He Qing was pretty said shyly, He Qing? Why is she in our class? He was stunned for a moment. Fuck. Why is she walking towards us? She's not coming to see me, is she? The boy's heartbeat accelerated nervously. Of course, He Qing was aware of everyone's gazes, and pursed her lips shyly, but when she saw Lin Zhengren in the crowd, she didn't see any other boys at all. She slowly walked to Lin Zhengren, stopped, and stared at him. Lin Zhengren, I bought you lemonade. Get up for a moment. I have something to tell you. She held the drink in her hand. Everyone in class 1 was stunned, and the boy just now was desperate. He Qing from class 3 brought water to Lin Zhengren. What's going on? Some people were curious if they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and some were curious if He Qing was pursuing Lin Zhengren. After all, there were quite a few girls who joined Lin Zhengren in the past 2 days. When Lin Zhengren saw that He Qing had something to say to him, he stood up, and the two of them walked aside under the gaze of most people. Being stared at by so many people, He Qing's face was shy and blushed, and she was very cute with her head down. Lin Zhengren looked at the guy wearing a military training uniform. Although it was simple, his ponytail was extremely smooth, and there were beads of sweat on his cute face and forehead because of the morning training. A pair of pure almond eyes on this fair face looks like a first love girlfriend in a novel. And her upper body, even the loose military training uniform can't seem to completely cover up her mature figure. Lin Zhengren, why are you here? Little He Qing looked up at Lin Zhengren, handed the drink forward, and whispered, I'm bringing you a drink. I just saw that girls from other classes gave drinks to their boyfriends during break time, and some boyfriends gave drinks to their girlfriends, but I know you must be very tired after training and don't want to move, so I bought a cup and came to find you. Lin Zhengren was curious about this little girl who was getting bolder every year. When she was in junior high school, she came to find him by car alone. Although she was brave, she was still not good at showing her face. But giving drinks in front of so many people. The little He Qing who didn't dare to speak when talking to people when she was a child would never do it. Lin Zhengren took the lemonade from her hand and looked at the group of people who were still watching. Many boys were staring at him with murderous intent. Lin Zhengren was embarrassed and looked at Xiao Heqing again. You didn't buy it for yourself. Xiao Heqing shook her head. I drank water. I brought my own water cup for military training, so I'm not thirsty. You drink it quickly, otherwise the ice will melt and it won't taste good. Xiao Heqing asked in a low voice, shall I put a straw in for you? Seeing that Lin Zhengren didn't shake his head, she unpacked the straw and inserted it with a snap, and put the garbage in her pocket. You drink it quickly, and I'll throw away the garbage for you after you drink it, otherwise you have to run to the garbage can so far away. Thank you. Lin Zhengren found a seat and sat down, and Xiao Heqing quickly sat beside him, with her little hands on her knees. The 16-year-old Xiao Heqing stared at Lin Zhengren drinking water and smiled happily. Although she still doesn't have much brains now, she is much smarter than when she was a child. This time she came to deliver water, firstly because she was afraid that Lin Zhengren would be thirsty, and secondly, it was actually to declare sovereignty, because she was not blind, And she had seen that many girls from other classes came to talk to Lin Sehengren after the sports game. If she didn't show up today, who knows how much trouble she would have in the future. And once she showed up, many boys who liked her would lose interest in her. Of course, she didn't intend to hide these things from Lin Sehengren, so she told him everything. Lin Sehengren, you won first place in the sports competitions a few days ago? Lin Sehengren drank his lemonade and hummed, it's an entertainment competition. Everyone has to participate. Little He Qing praised, then you are really awesome. I saw you in our class at that time, and none of them could compare to you. They were all defeated by you. Lin Sehengren glanced at her and saw that she seemed to be holding back something to say. Just say whatever you want to say. Why do you feel like you are beating around the bush? Little He Qing put her hands on her knees with her 10 fingers crossed, and said curtly and jealously, it's nothing. It's just that you have performed so well in sports competitions recently. A lot of girls are looking for you to chat and ask for your phone number or something. You should not be interested in any of them, right? You don't like their type, right? Lin Sehengren let out a long breath and hummed, no, I'm not interested. Little He Qing was visibly happy and grinned, really? I think so too. Recently, some boys have talked to me, and some have said, they like me and so on, but I ignored them and rejected them all. I didn't want anything they gave me. I'm telling you this because I'm afraid you'll think I'll talk to them. Actually, I won't. I only want to talk to you. Really, I don't want to talk to any other guy except you. Lin Sehengren looked at Xiao Heking's sincere expression, as if he was swearing. Lin Sehengren handed her the half-drunk glass of lemonade in his hand. How do you feel after entering high school? Not bad. She took the unfinished water and a bitten straw from Lin Sehengren. I'm a little tired from the military training. Nothing else. You don't want to drink? Lin Sehengren, I wasn't very thirsty in the first place. Drinking this is enough. Lin Sehengren looked into the distance and said, there's still a difference between high school and junior high school. After all, you are far away from home. If you have any problems that you can't solve at school, come to me and I will help you. After the military training this week, take more rest on the weekend, and try not to affect the competition in 2 weeks. Hearing that he cared about her, Xiao Heking hummed and looked at Lin Sehengren, don't worry, I'm not tired. But I can only come to you when I have problems? Can I come when I don't have any problems? I want to see you every day. It's okay. Anyway, I didn't ask you to come today, but you still came, didn't you? Xiao Heking grinned, chatted with him for a few more words, and then said goodbye to Lin Sehengren with a half cup of drink. As for the half cup of drink, of course she didn't want to throw it away, because Lin Sehengren had drunk it. But she was too embarrassed to drink from the same end as him, so she pulled out the straw, turned it over, and put it back in again, and started to drink the remaining half. Little He Qing blushed as she drank, and thought to herself that she would give it to him next time, so that she could drink what he had drunk. The fairy He saw that you were tired, so she specially gave you the fairy medicine. You received the ice water given by the fairy He, and gained 2 charms and 1 physical strength. After Little He Qing left, Lin Sehengren returned to the rest area. The boy who had just put his elbow on Lin Sehengren's shoulder had a desperate look on his face. He had just witnessed the whole process. Other things might be deceiving, but the girl's blushing face would not. She said resentfully, Lin Sehengren, if you are not good to He Qing, I will definitely kill you. He stood up and left Lin Sehengren with a desperate whine. Lin Sehengren sat there in shame. Fortunately, there were 2 other boys left, and they laughed. The boy surnamed Pen said, Lin Sehengren, so your girlfriend is He Qing from class 3? No wonder you are not interested in other girls. I see He Qing has a good relationship with Zhang Zuli from their class. Do you know if she has a boyfriend? Before the boy finished speaking, the shy and stubborn Zhang Zuli suddenly came over with a glass of lemonade. Thanks to the boss of Dream Thrush for the 100 starting coins. Chapter 86 Unexpected Confession and Agreement. Zhang Zuli's appearance attracted the attention of the boys in class 1 again. She saw Lin Sehengren sitting in the crowd and shyly hid the lemonade behind her. Although Zhang Zuli is not tall and has no special skills, her small, lively and playful face has enough killing power in the hearts of many boys. After all, who doesn't want a lively, cheerful and beautiful girlfriend? Zhang Zuli looked away and slowly walked into class 1. This time, everyone in class 1 really didn't think about Lin Sehengren at first. After all, He Qing just came to deliver water. No matter how imaginative other people are, they will only think that Zhang Zuli is here to deliver things to others. The boy named Pan who asked Zhang Zuli just now saw Zhang Zuli really coming over and sat up straight. Zhang Zuli. Why is she in our class too? Does she really have a boyfriend? As a result, everyone saw Zhang Zuli step by step walk in front of Lin Suhengren and stand, looking at Lin Suhengren stubbornly, in this half-minute of silence in the air. The boys in the class opened their eyes wide, opened their mouths one by one, and asked soul questions. No way, the facts were clearly in front of him, but he still didn't dare to be sure, until Zhang Zuli said, big in front of so many people. She blushed and changed her words. Lin Suhengren, come out for a moment, I have something to say to you. After that, she went to the distance and stood there hiding the drinks. The boy named Pan's secret love collapsed, and he said in unison with the other boys, Nibby. Lin Suhengren took a long breath and slowly stood up and walked to Zhang Zuli. Seeing her shy look, deliver water, Zhang Zuli was stunned. How do you know? No, who said I'm here to deliver water? Lin Suhengren looked at her hands hidden behind her back and asked helplessly, if you're not here to deliver water, then what are you doing here? Zhang Zuli turned her head and looked at the eyes of many people in the class who were focused here. Although Zhang Zuli was not afraid of being stared at when she sang, the situation now was different after all. She looked at Lin Suhengren again and said viciously, I'm just here to bring you water. How are you? She took out the glass of lemonade with one fierce hand, turned her head and snorted shyly, the weather is so hot and I was afraid you would be thirsty, so I went to buy you a glass of water. As for whether you drink it or not, I can't control it. Anyway, I'm here to bring it to you. Lin Suhengren took the glass of water and asked the same question, did you drink it yourself? I have, she pouted. Do you think I queued for so long just to buy it for you? After that, Zhang Zuli suddenly clenched her fists, closed her eyes and said irritably, okay, I didn't drink it. In order to bring you water earlier, how could I have time to drink water? In the end, He Qing got there first, she said bluntly. He Qing is okay, but why are you still so popular with girls? So many girls have talked to you these days. Don't you know how jealous I am? It's so annoying. Zhang Zuli blushed terribly after she finished speaking. She took a few steps back and sat on the curb, hugging her legs and said proudly, don't ask me why I am jealous. I won't tell you even if you ask. But after entering high school, everyone is really not decent at all. Some even come to chat with me and say that I am cute or something. It's simply crazy. If I were really cute, why haven't I heard you say it? What's the use of them saying it? Lin Suhengren sat next to Zhang Zuli. It seems that you have encountered a lot of things these days. I thought you didn't change much from junior high school, but now it seems that you have changed a lot compared to junior high school. Zhang Zuli hugged her knees and didn't look at him. Until she heard Lin Suhengren say, you are cuter than in junior high school. Zhang Zuli turned to look at Lin Suhengren with a red face and stammering head. What are you talking about? What do you mean I am cute? Are you crazy? If you have the guts, say it again. You are much cuter now than before. Although you still say one thing and mean another, you are much better than before. Zhang Zuli's red lips slightly opened, and the smoke was rippling, and even colorful bubbles appeared around her. She was too shy to look at him, and quickly shrank there, staring at her knees. You are crazy. You actually said such a thing to me. Are you crazy? She heard the sound of Lin Suhengren inserting a straw, and suddenly turned to look at him. Lin Suhengren was also curious about her shy appearance. Zhang Zuli looked at her with contempt. But you, a big fool, seem to be smarter after entering high school, and your mouth has become sweeter? She suddenly smiled. How about I call you a little fool from now on? Lin Suhengren was given goosebumps by her smile. What's with that expression? Zhang Zuli argued. Don't you think this is a friendly way of addressing someone? Idiot, idiot. This is a name that only people with whom you have a very good relationship would address you. Lin Suhengren sighed and drank his drink. So that's what you think? No wonder you are so obsessed with this name. What else? You don't like it? Seeing that Lin Suhengren really nodded, she thought for a while and said, how about this? I'll call you that from now on. She pursed her lips for a long time before she gently uttered, Suhengren. After she finished speaking, she got goosebumps all over the floor. Lin Suhengren was embarrassed. Can't you just call me by my name? Zhang Zuli pouted and hugged her knees again. No, He Qing already calls you that. If I do everything the same as her, wouldn't I be at a disadvantage? I'll just call you Zhang Suhengren from now on. It sounds pretty good. Lin Suhengren returned the drink in his hand to the other party. No more. Zhang Zuli took it and saw him take a sip. Just a sip? I've been waiting in line for so long. Mainly because I just drank it, and you didn't drink it, right? It's just right that you can drink the rest yourself. Lin Zhengren stood up. Then if there's nothing else, I'll go back. Suddenly Zhang Zuli grabbed Lin Zhengren's arm. Yes, Zhengren, I want to ask you, she asked in a low voice, do you really think I don't need to lose weight? Lin Zhengren thought she was going to ask something, looked at her figure and said honestly, really not, although there is no difference from before, but I also like you the way you are now, small and cute. After Lin Zhengren left, Zhang Zuli was stunned for a moment before she reacted. Like? He said he likes me. She suddenly had a brain short circuit and stammered, Zixi, Zixi. Like me. He said he likes me. Zhang Zuli stood up and closed her eyes and said, I do. Then she ran away shyly with her face covered. After entering high school, I really can't stand this guy. He confessed to me at this time. I can't refuse at all. Lin Zhengren turned around and heard her words speechless. This stupid girl is crazy again. He turned his head again, and suddenly saw the classmate surnamed Pan Krung, running away sobbing, and in his original position. Han Wenwen squatted there holding a drink and looking at him. The other people in the class were already stunned, looking at Han Wenwen in surprise, and even more at Lin Zhengren. Han Wenwen smiled jealously. Lin Zhengren? Are you still thirsty now? Lin Zhengren. On the other side of the class, Zhang Jin and Fang Meng, who had just returned from the bathroom, also saw that everyone in the class was looking at Lin Zhengren. Fang Meng said, this boy is really popular. I don't know how many girls from other classes have come to see him in the past few days. Zhang Jin stared at Lin Zhengren who was talking to Han Wenwen with cold eyes, wondering what he was thinking. A few days later, the military training was about to end, and the freshman party was scheduled to be held on the day of the end. As representatives of the freshmen, Lin Zhengren and Zhang Jin were naturally called to the office by the teacher before the party. Thanks to the Big Brother 2,023,220,213,737 for the 1,666 starting coins. Thanks to the Big Brother Dong Su King for the 1,500 starting coins. Thanks to the Big Brother Jishao Yuanj for the 1,000 starting coins. Thanks to the Big Brother 20220909202005482 inches for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to the Big Brother Yizenia Cinnamite for the 200 starting coins. Thanks to the Big Brother Alakiki for the 100 starting coins. Chapter 87 Curiosity and Secret Meeting. Lin Zhengren, Zhang Jin, you two are the two with the best grades among the freshmen of this year and even in recent years. The school leaders have undisputedly chosen you two as the male and female freshman representatives this time. Lin Zhengren, who is wearing a military training uniform, was about half a head taller than Zhang Jin. The second young lady stood there with an excellent temperament. Her back was straight, her eyes were cold and clear. Only Lin Zhengren had the same mature temperament. If it were someone else, they would definitely be outshined by her cold aura. The teacher sitting on the chair looked at the two people with different auras, thinking that geniuses are geniuses, not like ordinary people, and smiled. Then you two should take time to prepare a speech in the next 2 days, and give the speech at the beginning of the program tomorrow night. I have told you the requirements. You must be passionate and can inspire the enthusiasm of the classmates. As a representative of the school, you two should prepare another program, Zhang Jin said coldly. I have signed up for piano performance. The teacher smiled and nodded. Okay, I have heard of Zhang Jin's piano teacher before. You have won many piano awards, right? You are good at studying and playing piano so well. The teacher feels that you are unbelievably excellent. What about Lin Zhengren? Lin Zhengren felt that he didn't seem to have anything to show. Because the level of each project was similar, after all, Lin Zhengren had read a lot of books in the past 2 years. Why don't I also get good at piano? Anyway, our programs are next to each other, so we don't have to clean up the stage. When he said this, the teacher and Zhang Jin were suddenly a little shocked. Zhang Jin, who had been expressionless, looked at Lin Zhengren. The teacher also asked curiously, oh? Can Lin Zhengren play the piano? Lin Zhengren nodded, remembering that he had learned a little piano in his previous life, although not much, but he could go on stage with a little practice today and tomorrow. I learned a little a long time ago, but my level was not high, and I only accompanied others, the teacher said. Really? In that case, you two can play the piano together. If Lin Zhengren is not good, he can be the assistant, and Zhang Jin can be the main player. The teacher doesn't know much about piano, is this okay? Zhang Jin, Zhang Jin retracted her gaze from Lin Sehengren. Sure, I will choose a simpler song at that time. Anyway, it's just a performance. The teacher nodded. Very good, then it's a happy decision. You two can go and sign up now, for the piano ensemble. After writing the speech, you two should take time to practice today and tomorrow. I hope everything goes well tomorrow night. The two nodded together. After leaving the office, Zhang Jin had a blank expression on her face, but she was very surprised that Lin Sehengren could play the piano. It's just that he just said that his piano level is not that good, so Zhang Jin didn't feel like comparing. She said to Lin Sehengren, after writing the speech today, we will practice in the stage lounge tonight. Okay, how many pianos are there in our school? Zhang Jin looked ahead. There is no piano in the school. I use my own. You can use yours too. Lin Sehengren blinked. Zhang Jin also looked at him, and the air suddenly became silent. Zhang Jin, you don't have a piano at home, yet. That's why I said I'm more amateur, or I should change the program. Singing is also fine. Lin Sehengren told the truth. Zhang Jin thought how could he learn without a piano, but the previous two failures made her very interested in Lin Sehengren, and now she was very curious about what level he meant by amateur. It's okay, I have another one at home, and I'll ask someone to move it over when the time comes. Then we'll meet in the practice room tonight. The two of them had already walked out of the teaching building, and Zhang Jin walked away. At the end, Feng Meng had been waiting for Zhang Jin. Lin Sehengren said, thank you. I will thank you when I have the chance. Zhang Jin looked back at him curiously and said, you're welcome, because I also want to hear you play the piano. Lin Sehengren smiled. He was not blind. He had already vaguely discovered that this classmate Zhang Jin seemed to be secretly comparing herself with him. However, Lin Sehengren was not influenced by others. He would just continue to do what he wanted to do. Zhang Jin walked to Feng Meng, and the two girls disappeared from Lin Sehengren's sight. When leaving, Feng Meng saw Zhang Jin's face was a little strange, and asked curiously, what's wrong, Qianqian? Hasn't the student representative matter been decided long ago? Why do you look a little surprised? Zhang Jin replied, I'm not surprised about the student representative matter. I'm surprised that Lin Sehengren can actually play the piano. Ah, he can also play the piano? How can he know everything? I'm curious too, but his family doesn't have a piano, and he said himself that his piano level is not good. But even so, it's enough to surprise me. After all, my father hired many professional tutors for me to be able to do this, but he obviously taught himself. Zhang Jin said to Feng Meng, you ask your family to send someone to move 2 pianos to school, and I will start practicing with him in the evening. Feng Meng nodded, but at this moment Feng Meng, who grew up with Zhang Jin, clearly saw that the other party's eyes were a little strange. This second young lady likes to be competitive, but she is not interested in any boys. But now, she is obviously full of curiosity about a boy named Lin Sehengren. Once a girl starts to be curious about a boy, this curiosity will not disappear so easily. During the last 2 days of military training, the instructors and students finally had a break. Students without programs read books and study in the classroom, while those with programs took advantage of these 2 days to prepare for the programs. Lin Sehengren was writing a speech in an empty classroom outside the program practice room this afternoon. It is called an empty classroom, but it is actually where everyone puts their things. Since there is no one here during the program practice time, Lin Sehengren can write a little quietly. A carbon pen wrote dense words on the white paper, and a little fox suddenly passed by the corridor. Seeing Lin Sehengren riding through the window, he said to himself, sure enough, he's here. The little fox opened the door quietly, but was still heard by Lin Sehengren, who turned around to see the person coming. The little fox smiled and waved at Lin Sehengren, holding a bottle of drink in his hand. Lin Sehengren, Han Wenwen? Why are you here? The little fox closed the door and pulled a chair to sit next to him, right next to him. I missed you, so I came to see you. What is Brother Sehengren writing? I mean, shouldn't you be in the classroom now? You can't come here if you are not rehearsing the show, right? Han Wenwen glanced at Lin Sehengren's speech. Of course I can't come here if I'm not rehearsing, so I rehearsed the show. I took the initiative to sign up for a girls' skit group and play the role of a passerby in it. I only showed up once and then it was finished. Lin Sehengren puzzled, so you participated in the show just to secretly find Brother Sehengren, otherwise why participate in the show? After that, she winked at Lin Sehengren playfully, and I haven't told Zio King the truth about this. I told Zio King that I like this skit very much, so I joined. Lin's Hengren was used to the fox's unique little thoughts and continued to write the speech. Han Wenwen was lying on the corner of the table. The freshman representative's speech, Brothers Hengren is really amazing, and I heard that Brothers Hengren also participated in the program, piano ensemble, with classmate Zhang Jin. She stared at Lin's Hengren with her fox eyes and whispered jealously, "It's Brothers Hengren's fiancée." Lin's Hengren continued to write, "The school just arranged for the two of us to perform a show, and I went with her to save trouble." Han Wenwen seemed to have guessed the answer a long time ago. I knew Brothers Hengren would say that, and he has reasons, but Han Wenwen suddenly put her face on Lin's Hengren's arm. No matter what Brothers Hengren says, after this incident, even if you two know each other in the future, with Brothers Hengren's philandering personality, can he let a girl go? Besides, I've been jealous for a day since I heard the news, and my stomach feels uncomfortable. The little fox looked at him eagerly. It's really uncomfortable. I can't even eat. Lin's Hengren stopped writing when he saw her staring at him. You're still holding a cold drink when you feel uncomfortable? Han Wenwen was stunned, put the lemonade in her hand aside, and snorted. After all, on the day of military training, Brothers Hengren drank Zio King's and Lily's, but didn't drink mine. Isn't this partiality? How can Brothers Hengren be like this? Lin's Hengren looked at the angry little fox lying on the table, and thought for a while. There is a snack street outside the school after school. Do you want to go? At least it's much better than the food in the cafeteria. The little fox was stunned, looked back at him, and became happy again. Really? But only you and I can go. You can't ask others. Lin's Hengren picked up the pen. Then don't disturb me from writing the speech. I'll go with you after I finish it. Then can I lie on your shoulder? No. Thanks to the big brother of Dream Thrush for the reward of 1,666 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of Yak for the reward of 100 starting coins. Thanks to 20191222211308588962 inches for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to 202306181950505151 inches for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to 202403031349580010 inches for the 100 starting coins. Chapter 88 The Little Fox's Kitchen. The little fox said coquettishly, "If I had known, I would not have asked Brothers Hengren. I would have just laid on him. Would Brothers Hengren still have the heart to hit me?" Lin's Hengren gave her a slap on the head. The little fox cooperated and cried out. It didn't hurt, but it didn't stop her from pressing her face on his arm and covering her forehead with grievance. "It hurts so much, don't pretend. I didn't use any force." She showed one eye. "I would have cried out in pain even if I didn't use any force. Otherwise why would Brothers Hengren feel sorry for me? It hurts so much." Lin's Hengren was also used to her chatterboxing, so he snorted and didn't say anything. Han Wenwen then honestly lay on the table with her hands as pillows, and some of the non-existent 9 foxtails swayed gently, and some were wrapped around Lin's Hengren's thighs. Quietly examining Lin's Hengren's profile as he wrote. Of course, Han Wenwen still had to tell Zio Qing before school was over, otherwise the secret meeting would be exposed. Zio Qing, the afternoon rehearsal seems to take a long time. You and Lily should go to eat first. You don't have to wait for us. I will help Zio Qing keep an eye on Lin's Hengren and will never let other girls get close to him. When Zio Qing heard that she couldn't have dinner together, she nodded. Wenwen, you have worked hard. I will cheer you on from downstairs during the show tomorrow. Han Wenwen took Zio Qing's arm. Thank you, Zio Qing. Zhang Zuli heard the two talking and came over to ask, by the way, is that guy really going to perform a show with a girl named Zhang Jin? Han Wenwen responded, I heard it was arranged by the school. Originally, 2 people were going to perform one each, but then the teacher thought a piano ensemble would be better, so they let the 2 of them perform together. Zhang Zuli and Zio Qing were really surprised when they heard the piano ensemble at first. They were both puzzled because they had never heard that he could play the piano. Zhang Zuli sighed, he has so many secrets. I don't even think I'm her childhood sweetheart. Zio Qing nodded, but she had been away from Lin's Hengren for several years, so it was normal for her to not know some things. Han Wenwen glanced at the time and felt that it was about time. Then I'll continue to rehearse in the practice room. Goodbye, Zio Qing, Lily. Let's go. She waved goodbye. Zhang Zuli and He Qing also waved. Just looking at the figure of the little fox leaving, Zhang Zuli shrank her neck and shivered to ease the goosebumps on her body. Although it's been half a month, I'm still not used to her calling me Lily. Zhang Zuli and Xiao Heqing looked at each other and suddenly smiled. Although the two were rivals in love who had experienced a big battle, they had been together for so long that it could only be said that there was still some friendship. Putting aside the rivals in love, they were also good friends. Xiao Heqing took the initiative to speak softly. Then let's have dinner together tonight. Zhang Zuli smiled and nodded slowly. Yes, together tonight. In the program training room, it was time for dinner and everyone went to the cafeteria. Han Wenwen returned to Lin Zhengren. She asked him if he had finished writing the speech. Lin Zhengren hummed and put away the speech and stood up. I have simply finished writing it. Anyway, no one will care too much about this kind of speech. It's okay as long as the general idea is there. Han Wenwen stood on tiptoe and stretched out her hand to touch Lin Zhengren's hair, brushing down the broken hair on his head. That's not necessarily true. At least when Brother Zhengren speaks, I will definitely listen to every word. I support Brother Zhengren unconditionally in everything. Lin Zhengren walked out of the school with her. There were not many students at the school gate. Han Wenwen asked curiously, by the way, how do we leave the school? The school doesn't allow boarding students to go out at night, right? Lin Zhengren walked smoothly to the school gate, greeted the security uncle, and took out a pass. Uncle, I'm going out to buy something. The security guard opened the door for the two of them. It's Lin again. Go out. Lin Zhengren put away the pass. Thank you, uncle. Han Wenwen didn't expect it to be so smooth. What kind of pass is that? Where did you get it? Lin Zhengren looked at the shocked expression of the little fox. I asked my class teacher for it, saying that I need to go out to buy some things from time to time when participating in the program, and the class teacher gave it to me. He waited for a while without saying anything. It's that simple. The little fox didn't understand. Lin Zhengren thought that the charm given by the system itself was very useful. No matter who he talked to, as long as the reason was right, the other party would basically agree. In addition, the most important point was that he was a good student. What else? The teacher will naturally feel at ease if the students with good grades ask for it, but if it is a naughty student who asks for it, he may not be able to get it out. Even if he wants to get it out, the pass may be taken back immediately because he is afraid that they will go out to do something else. Han Wenwen suddenly smiled, snorted and tilted her head. So Brother Zhengren, as a good student, secretly took the girls out to buy food. Then how about I go back to the cafeteria with you now? Han Wenwen covered her stomach. No. Brother Zhengren promised me. My stomach hurts. You have to pretend to be real. Where is your stomach? Han Wenwen moved her hand to her chest again. Lin Zhengren, that's the heart. The stomach is in the middle and lower part. Brother Zhengren knows everything. The two walked to the snack street 2 streets away from the school. The snack street, which is full of dazzling goods and very long, is quite lively. Many residents of nearby communities are strolling in it, young and old, men and women, and there is also a large entertainment plaza next to it. The little fox was very excited when she saw it, so there is such a street outside the school. I can come here to stroll and play when I have time on weekends in the future. After saying that, she realized something. By the way, how did Brother Zhengren know that there is a snack street here? I haven't even heard of it, Lin Zhengren answered casually. Before, a senior invited me to go shopping here, but I didn't agree, so I knew about it. The little fox stared at him jealously and whispered, you can imagine that it was a girl who told me. I might as well not ask. The two walked into the snack street, but because there were too many people, the little fox couldn't walk over to some stalls to see the specific sales appearance. And she was almost bumped by someone when she approached the stalls. Seeing her being so reckless, Lin Zhengren reached out and held her arm to prevent her from being bumped into by others. Be careful. Han Wenwen looked at Lin Zhengren's hand holding her arm, and said with a smile, thank you, Brother Zhengren, but there are so many people here. How about I hold Brother Zhengren's arm? Otherwise we might get lost. Lin Zhengren looked at the crowded crowd and thought that there were indeed too many people here, and since it was not the first time anyway, he agreed. Seeing him nod happily, the little fox quickly held Lin Zhengren's arm and raised her little fist. Thank you, Brother Zhengren. Let's go shopping. I want to eat chicken steak. There seems to be one in front. Let's go and have a look. The two walked a few steps and came to the chicken steak stall. The boss asked as usual, how many do you want? Handsome guy and beautiful girl. Han Wenwen held up 2 fingers. 2. Seeing the two of them holding each other's arms, the boss pointed to the new item next to them. This is a new product that has just been put on the shelves. Couple chicken racks, 15 or 2 for 2. Han Wenwen did not hesitate. I want one. Lin Zhengren thought of the previous Chinese New Year. We have just started shopping, so buy less, otherwise we won't be able to finish it. Han Wenwen pursed her lips, but this is a new product, and there is very little meat in the chicken rack. Buy it, buy it. The boss smiled and said, don't worry, young man, my chicken rack is delicious, buy one for your girlfriend to try. The little fox's expression changed slightly when he heard a certain keyword. He looked at Lin Zhengren and said slowly, buy it. Lin Zhengren looked at her deliberately coquettish look, then buy it, as long as you can eat it anyway. Han Wenwen opened her eyes wide with joy, thinking that Brother Zhengren didn't deny it when the boss mentioned his girlfriend. She bit her lip shyly. Thank you, Brother Zhengren. The action of holding each other was a little stronger. The boss handed the finished food to the two of them, and Han Wenwen looked into the distance. I also want to eat chicken cartilage, chicken wings, chicken legs, and Lin Zhengren stuffed her mouth with a chicken steak. Do you have a stomach ache? I see you have a good appetite. Thank you for the 500 starting coins rewarded by the big boss of Ji Shouyongjia. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the big boss of Sky and Clouds. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the big boss of Sui Ki Ren. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the big boss of Changting Short Memory. Give some monthly tickets to the big bosses. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89. Will Brother Zhengren be moved by me? Han Wenwen bit off the chicken chop in her mouth and picked it up again. I had a stomachache, but Brother Zhengren accompanied me shopping alone. If I get unhappy again, wouldn't it be very disrespectful to Brother Zhengren? She deliberately moved her face close to Lin Zhengren and stared at him closely. Am I easy to coax? So in the future, if Brother Zhengren sees me angry and coaxes me a little, I will be very happy. It depends on whether Brother Zhengren is willing to take a little time to care about me. Lin Zhengren smiled with a fake smile. He continued to stroll in the snack street with Han Wenwen. In the end, Han Wenwen didn't miss any of the food she wanted to eat. After all, Lin Zhengren was not picky about food, and he really liked the things Han Wenwen said. It was just that it was inevitable to buy too much because of greed. After shopping, carrying 2 full bags of snacks, Lin Zhengren pointed to the steps of the square in the distance. There were many couples sitting on the steps on the roadside to eat. The two of them walked over and found a seat by the side. Han Wenwen took out the chicken chop she had just taken a bite of, chewed it deliciously, and looked at the children chasing and playing in the square, as well as the people coming and going. But her hand was still reluctant to let go of Lin Zhengren's arm. Lin Zhengren also picked up a chicken leg and started chewing it, reminding him, don't hold my arm when you eat. Isn't it hard for you to eat like this? And it's easy to get oil on your clothes. Han Wenwen chewed the chicken chop and took out the drink she brought in the afternoon and put in a straw. No, I have to hold it. Brother Zhengren, do you want some water? Lin Zhengren wanted to take it with his hand, but Han Wenwen took it directly to Lin Zhengren's mouth. I'll hold it for you. After Lin Zhengren finished drinking, Han Wenwen took it back, bit the straw he had held with her red lips, and took a sip of the drink. Lin Zhengren looked at him curiously. Han Wenwen knew what he was doing. She blushed shyly. What's wrong? There's only one drink here. Can't we drink it together? I don't dislike Brother Zhengren. Lin Zhengren ate the chicken leg and didn't care about this detail. He asked helplessly, does your stomach still hurt? Han Wenwen shook her head slowly. Not now. She took another sip of the drink and bit her lower lip and asked quietly, so Brother Zhengren really cares about me? Lin Zhengren continued to eat the chicken leg and looked into the distance. Why else would I bring you out? I just wanted to change your appetite. Of course, I've had enough of the school cafeteria. What's the food there? Even I can't eat it. Han Wenwen stared at Lin Zhengren blankly. Suddenly, a child who was playing and running over without looking at the road almost bumped into Han Wenwen. Lin Zhengren subconsciously protected her with his other hand. After the child bumped into Lin Zhengren's arm, Han Wenwen leaned against Lin Zhengren's arms and looked at him. The children who were playing around found that they had bumped into someone and quickly apologized. I'm sorry, brother and sister, I'm sorry. Lin Zhengren didn't care and just asked them to go play over there, but Han Wenwen blushed when she saw Lin Zhengren subconsciously protecting herself. The things that moved her the most were often the things that others didn't care about. Lin Zhengren wanted to sit down again. But the little fox didn't recover. Instead, He pulled his arm and slowly tilted his head to lean on Lin Suhengren's shoulder. The unique fragrance of the little fox made Lin Suhengren stop. Before Lin Suhengren could speak, Han Wenwen said shyly, "I was scared just now. It will be better if you lean like this for a while, so don't rush me up." How could Lin Suhengren not know that she was pretending? But seeing that the little fox's expression seemed to be a little different, he didn't say much. "Then you have to let me sit down, okay?" Han Wenwen stared at Lin Suhengren. "Brother Suhengren, just sit down. It won't stop me from leaning on your shoulder." Lin Suhengren sat down again and finished the remaining chicken leg in his hand. Han Wenwen also took small bites of the chicken steak, but her appetite was overwhelmed by other things. "Brother Suhengren, has a girl leaned on your shoulder before?" She was very curious. Lin Suhengren told the truth. "Yes." Han Wenwen suddenly got angry. "Who?" "He Qing. I met her at the station during the summer vacation between elementary school and junior high school. Didn't we stay out for a night? At that time, she thought I was asleep and leaned on my shoulder, but because of the environment at that time and I knew she was scared at night, so I didn't care about her." Lin Suhengren looked at her jealous look. "Don't you know about this?" Han Wenwen thought of what happened in elementary school. She did hear He Qing talk about that incident, but Han Wenwen didn't feel anything at all after hearing it at that time, and even hated the two of them. As a result, the same scene at this moment, but she felt completely different in her heart. She just felt jealous and uncomfortable, and didn't want to listen again. "I remember. He Qing also leaned on the shoulder like this." "That's not the case. She's not as bold as you." Han Wenwen was a little happier. "She leaned on this shoulder." "Why are you entangled with these things? It's very important to me." "Brother Suhengren, tell me." Lin Suhengren put the chicken leg he had eaten into the garbage bag and took out another chicken steak. "No, she leaned on my left side at the beginning, unlike you." Han Wenwen laughed. "Really? That's not bad. At least I was the only one who leaned on this side." The sunset in the sky was getting redder and redder, but the snack street was getting more and more lively. Lin Suhengren's shoulders were much thicker than they looked, so it was very comfortable to lean on them. The comfortable little fox's legs together also tilted towards Lin Suhengren's direction. It also leaned on his legs. He just bit the chicken steak in his hand and inexplicably lost his appetite. "Brother Suhengren will accompany He Qing back to town to participate in the competition next week, right?" "Yes, I've been preparing for a year. I will definitely accompany her. I promised." Han Wenwen continued to ask, "Then you will accompany Lily to the competition next week?" "Another week." "Yes, I've been preparing for a year as well, and I have to accompany her too." Han Wenwen moved her head slightly, as if she was looking up. Some of the smooth long hair on her head stuck to Lin Suhengren's face, and some stuck to his back because of its tilt. "Then if you accompany me again, it will be next month, right? I have earned enough from my tuition this year. The next time when Brother Suhengren accompanies me, I suddenly don't want to play games. I want Brother Suhengren to accompany me around the city." And then, she stared at Lin Suhengren with her fox eyes. "Stay with me at night and don't go back. Can you stay with me in my rental house? Just keep me company." Han Wenwen looked at the dim sky, thought of the past days, and whispered, "I'm actually quite timid at night. Sometimes I wake up alone and can't fall asleep again when I look at the dark room. When I was a child, I always thought of my mother to get through the night. Now, I always think of Brother Suhengren." Lin Suhengren turned to look at her. "Is this why you sometimes send me messages at night? And you call me out of the blue to bother me?" Han Wenwen grinned, recalling that she occasionally did that during the 3 years in junior high school, feeling a little embarrassed. "I miss you. What can I do? I didn't know I would be like this after I had someone I liked, so clingy." Although I imagined what my reaction would be when I read novels and watched TV dramas before, but reality is more unexpected than I thought. Just like now, she poked the back of Lin Suhengren's hand with her other hand. "I don't know how happy I am just leaning on Brother Suhengren's shoulder. My heart is beating so fast." "Brother Suhengren, what about you? Do you feel moved because I lean on you? Do you feel shy?" Thanks to Deluz and Gadali for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to Fu Austin for the 100 starting coins. Chapter 90, Remarks on the Release. As the title says, let me talk about the main points first. It will be available on the shelves at 12 o'clock tonight. After it is available at 12 o'clock, I should update 3 to 4 chapters first, and then update about 3 chapters tomorrow during the day. In this way, even if I update 7 or 8 chapters on the first day, there will be 10,000 chapters every day in the future if nothing goes wrong. In return for everyone's monthly tickets and rewards during the free period, I will work hard for a while before talking about it. So I hope everyone can give a first order. As for the rules for adding more chapters, I will also talk about it when I see everyone asking. Now it should be more than 1,700 monthly tickets. When it reaches 2,000 monthly tickets, I will add one chapter, and then add one chapter for every 500 monthly tickets. I hope the big guys will vote more, thank you. As for rewards, everyone will add one chapter if they accumulate 10,000 Kidian coins. Of course, I will be very happy if everyone follows up and supports me. If the big guys are happy to read it, I will still thank them at the end of the chapter. Finally, let's talk about this book and the eunuchs. Although this book seems to have a good performance at present, in fact, the junior high school chapters have lost a lot of follow-up reading. But I am still very clear about my ability. I am actually very satisfied with the current situation. I will be very happy if the first order can reach 3,000, although there is a chance that it cannot be reached. As for the eunuch, it is still the same as what I said in the comment section. No matter how bad this book is, it will not be eunuch. Otherwise, if I cut it and start the book again, the names of the protagonists will still be the same. Once you see that the new book is written by me, you probably won't read it. That's all. If you have any questions, see the comment section. I hope everyone can give me a first order at 12 o'clock tonight or tomorrow. Thank you. Chapter 91 Holding Hands. She stretched out her hand to try to feel Lin Zhengren's heartbeat, but Lin Zhengren quickly grabbed her hand. You just held the chicken chop with this hand, and the oil will get on me. Han Wenwen looked at Lin Zhengren, and the little fox's slender hand curled up when he grabbed it. Lin Zhengren let go of her hand, but she did not take it back. Instead, her fingers actively stuck to Lin Zhengren's palm, and her 5 fingers slowly climbed up to his palm and clasped it. While doing these things, she said slowly, word by word, Brother Zhengren always doesn't let me hear the sound of your heartbeat because he's afraid that I'll find out. In fact, when you're with me, you're also moved. You can openly say how many girlfriends you want, but you don't want to be discovered in such a small matter. Her lips were on Lin Zhengren's ear. I actually know that in Brother Zhengren's heart, things like falling in love are not the most important thing for you. Brother Zhengren's goal is to make himself stronger and more powerful. Only when you have the strength will you do the things you want to do. I always thought that I was very similar to Brother Zhengren, but I didn't know why, but now I understand a little bit. Han Wenwen said word by word, that is, although Brother Zhengren seems to have never experienced any setbacks when he was a child, he actually seems to be the same as me in his heart, as if he has grown up alone. Why is that? Lin Zhengren stared at Han Wenwen's eyes unexpectedly. The fox who can see through people's hearts is more delicate than ordinary girls after all. Although Lin Zhengren knew that her words were just guesses, the little fox was right this time. In his previous life, Lin Zhengren grew up in an orphanage. Although he made some achievements with his hard work when he grew up, he was lucky enough to find his father who was about to die and inherited the property that his father was about to demolish. But then the dislocation system came. The experience of his previous life made Lin Zhengren know that it is extremely important to have strength. Love is something that can be had, but it must not be the focus when you are young. That's why he has been working hard to develop in this life and didn't think much about other things. It is also because of this experience that as the childhood sweethearts of these 3 little guys, Lin Zhengren also hopes that the 3 of them can become strong, at least they can do what they want in the future, and not be delayed by their life experience and hesitation in their youth. Han Wenwen's eyes were charming and attractive, and the figure of the person she liked was reflected in her pupils. Brother Zhengren always has many secrets that I can't understand. This may be the reason why Brother Zhengren is so attractive to girls. It always makes people curious about you, and they can never figure out what Brother Zhengren is thinking. But Han Wenwen's forehead rested softly on his neck. It's tiring to keep working hard, and there's no need to work hard to the end to enjoy success. Even if you reward yourself during the hard work, it's okay, right? She looked at the hand she was holding Lin Zhengren. For example, a girl's hand is very soft, and holding it won't be a big deal, and maybe it will make Brother Zhengren more motivated in the future. The 2 put their hands down, and the little fox was nervous until Lin Zhengren let out a long breath. You still talk so much? And you can't argue. The 2 slowly held each other's hands. Han Wenwen had a faint smile on her lips. What's wrong with talking too much? Girls are like this when they are with someone they like. They only keep silent when they are with someone they don't like, she said playfully. So, Can Brother Zhengren tell me? Brother Zhengren has a harmonious family, is good at studying, has 2 childhood sweethearts, and even now has a little fox. Why do I feel like I have similar experiences to us? Lin Zhengren replied, how should I know? Anyway, I have this kind of personality, and everyone wants to become better. Is there anyone who wants to become worse? The little fox leaned on his shoulder with a look of enjoyment. That's true, but no matter what, I will always be with Brother Zhengren in the future. I am aware of being a personal secretary, and I don't mind if Brother Zhengren puts his hands on me when the time comes. She imagined the future. By the way, when my live broadcast account is set up in the future, I can make some money to provide Brother Zhengren with a small reserve fund just in case. Han Wenwen's stomach suddenly growled with hunger. The two looked at each other, and Han Wenwen said shyly, we were so busy talking that we didn't eat much? How about I change my hand and hold Brother Zhengren's? Otherwise, if I eat with my left hand, oil will really drip on my body. Lin Zhengren took out his mobile phone and looked at the time. It's almost time for rehearsal in the evening, and it's time to eat. Otherwise, if you keep being so clingy with me, we don't know how long it will take. Han Wenwen pursed her lips and looked at the hands clasped together, saying coquettishly, why are you in such a hurry? Anyway, I don't have anything to rehearse in the evening, and Brother Zhengren has to. The little fox thought of Jiang Jin again, and suddenly stared at him angrily. Without any transition. I won't eat quickly. Otherwise, finish eating quickly so that Brother Zhengren can go practice piano with other girls? Brother Zhengren is good in everything, but he is too fickle. Lin Zhengren picked another snack and put it in his mouth. He had never lied to these 3 guys on this matter. Isn't it normal for people to have shortcomings? Since you want too many things, you will appear greedy. If you don't want anything, you will appear saintly. But I definitely don't like that. Lin Zhengren let go of his hand and reminded the fox, eat quickly, otherwise it will be cold. You are so righteous and fickle. She let go of her right hand that was holding Lin Zhengren, and changed to holding his left hand with him. She picked up the chicken steak with her right hand and ate it in big mouthfuls. The taste of food made the little fox feel more settled about happiness at this moment. But Brother Zhengren, I have to tell you in advance that even if I become your secretary, I will not help you pursue other girls except He Qing and Lily, and I have always been opposed to this matter. Lin Zhengren, did I say who I want to pursue? I don't have the leisure to do that. Han Wenwen looked angry. After finishing her chicken chop, she took another piece and gnawed on it. There are so many girls even if I don't pursue them. What if Brother Zhengren wants to pursue them actively? Can you carry so many in the future? Stop talking about useless things, okay? Let's go back after eating. Han Wenwen was gnawing on the chicken rack and suddenly remembered what they had just talked about. By the way, Brother Zhengren hasn't told me whether he wants to stay at my place next month. Lin Zhengren, let me think about it. If you have a second quilt in your rental house, I'll go. Really? Of course you have one. She bit her lip. Even if you don't have one, I can pick one out at the mall this week. Then it's settled. Accompany me shopping that week next month, and then stay at my place at night. You are not allowed to leave, but speaking of this, I also have something to tell you. The last time you were sick, I almost died of exhaustion taking care of you. Can you try to be more obedient next time when you fall asleep? Kicking the quilt is a small matter. The main thing is that your hands have never been obedient, and I can't sleep. Really? She was a little embarrassed. Nonsense. I sleep well. Sleep well? Are you sure you look like a human when you get up in the morning? Do you believe it yourself? The little fox snorted. It's not normal to look like a human? Doesn't Brother Zhengren always think that I'm a fox? Foxes are all like this. Brother Zhengren doesn't understand. How? Chapter 92. Affinity of all things. Brother Zhengren is mean to me. After Lin Zhengren finished his food, he suddenly hit her on the forehead again. You are talking back to me with the thing right in front of you, right? You are getting more and more courageous. Han Wenwen pouted when she was hit, but she was actually very happy because she knew that every time Lin Zhengren hit her, he really didn't use any force at all and it didn't hurt at all. The two of them didn't have time to chat much afterwards, and they concentrated on finishing their snacks quickly. In the end, Han Wenwen was so full that she looked lazy, and Lin Zhengren took her hand and threw the food waste into the trash can. Today, a lantern festival is being held in Longcheng. You are strolling around the festival with the demon cult witch. Your long journey has made the demon cult witch very interested in you, and she has even gradually become unable to leave you. You have tasted many delicacies in the lantern festival. Together you gained 7 points of charm, 5 points of stamina, 3 points of strength, and 2 points of energy. Your cultivation level has successfully broken through to level 50, with an additional 20 points of charm and a new talent skill. Affinity for all things. Affinity for all things can only be unlocked when your aura level reaches 50 and your charm reaches the maximum level. Affinity for all things is divided into 5 levels, and each level up will improve your proficiency in all things, including making friends, refining pills, practicing talismans, and learning spells. After reaching the maximum level, your initial proficiency in all things will at least reach the master level, and can be further improved to the peak by cultivating the corresponding contract objects. Linz Hengren heard that the system finally came up with a lot of rhetoric again. In the 8th grade of junior high school, Linz Hengren was actually already level 49, but he had been improving very slowly throughout the entire 9th grade. Now he has finally made a breakthrough, and this affinity with all things sounds much stronger than the simple charm value before. After all, the charm value was only useful for people before, and had almost no effect on objects, but after upgrading to a new skill, it should be effective for everything according to the description. Holding Han Wenwen's hand and returning to school, he checked the panel on the way. Your current spiritual energy level is level 50, the physical training period has ended, and the key training period has been successfully opened. Your current attributes are, Strength 68, the ability of strength not to decay and immunity to diseases has been unlocked. Energy 59, when the value reaches 60, you can get the special ability of 7 times a night without fatigue. Stamina 68, when the value reaches 70, you can get double the physical strength and triple the endurance. Affinity with all things, level 1, primary affinity, you can quickly master everything and far exceed ordinary people. Looking at the charm value disappearing on the panel, the original charm value was directly changed to a new skill after reaching the maximum level. Moreover, there is a new entry after the spiritual energy level, the key refining stage. In other words, the 4 values in the front were originally basic values. After reaching the maximum level, they will become the final attributes like the affinity of all things. Linz Hengren used to think that most of these attributes were not very serious, but now it seems that they are just not all unlocked, and the energy will soon reach the threshold, and new abilities can be obtained, just a little bit. It should only take a small event. While walking, Han Wenwen suddenly felt that something was wrong and looked at Linz Hengren. Linz Hengren asked, "What's wrong?" Han Wenwen blinked and smiled. "I can't tell, I just feel that Brothers Hengren seems to have become more handsome suddenly. Is it my illusion? Although it seems that there is no change, after all, he was handsome enough before." Linz Hengren smiled and pulled her to continue walking. "Stop talking nonsense, let's go back to school." Han Wenwen stared at Linz Hengren's blushing cheeks, held his hand tightly, and thought that he was indeed always handsome. Just in time to get back to the school gate, Linz Hengren looked at the security uncle in the distance and gave Han Wenwen a look. Han Wenwen noticed his loosened hand and understood what he meant. She reluctantly took it back, but the residual warmth of the handshake was still there. Linz Hengren nodded to the uncle as he walked into the school gate. "Uncle, I'm back." The uncle smiled. "Are you done?" "Yes, I finished everything the teacher asked me to do." Han Wenwen thought that Brothers Hengren was quite natural at lying. The two returned to the rehearsal room for the program, just in time for the students of Class 3 to call Han Wenwen to rehearse, and Han Wenwen responded. The two had to separate in the corridor. Before leaving, the little fox smiled and waved to Linz Hengren. "See you in the evening, Brothers Hengren. By the way, I really got the first hand holding." Linz Hengren looked at her leaving figure, thinking that he seemed to have held her hand a long time ago, also when she was sick last time. "Walk to other practice rooms until you see a classroom with a piano through the window." Linz Hengren was about to open the door, but he accidentally saw Jiang Jin in the room, who had changed out of her military training uniform. She was wearing a slim white dress. With her long hair draped over her shoulders, one could only see her frosty face from the window. She looked particularly noble with the piano, like a snow lotus on an iceberg. Even though Linz Hengren didn't care about most girls, he had to admit that Jiang Jin's figure was better than many girls. Even if she was just sitting there alone, she always remained dignified and elegant. Her slender fingers slowly placed on the piano, and as her fingers danced on the keys, a beautiful and pleasant piano piece began to play. Linz Hengren did not really know much about the piano. Even with the help of the system's learning ability, he could barely play for 10 years. But now it was only a short pause. Perhaps it was the effect of the affinity of all things. Lin Zhengren actually quickly noticed the excellence and shortcomings in her music. In this short music, Lin Zhengren smiled, thinking that although the first level affinity mentioned by the system was not obvious, but my current piano skills are probably equivalent to that of an ordinary person who has practiced for 30 or 40 years. And this affinity is not just for the piano, but for anything that I use. I will have about 30 or 40 years of experience. Zhang Jin stopped playing halfway through the music, as if she was looking for where she went wrong, and started playing again. The second time was much better than the first time, but there was still a little problem. Lin Zhengren waited until she finished playing before pushing the door open. It sounds good. Zhang Jin turned her head to look at Lin Zhengren and stood up. You're here. It's a little late. Lin Zhengren, dinner took up some time. Zhang Jin didn't care about these. Looking at the other piano, she just wanted to hear how good Lin Zhengren was. The piano here is what I prepared for you. It's no different from mine. You can try it. Lin Zhengren thanked her and walked to the piano. Chapter 93 Disparate Zhang Jin. Sitting in front of the piano, Lin Zhengren simply tested the sound, and he found that his hands seemed to be very adapted to the piano, just like an old friend. Zhang Jin stood by and watched his every move quietly. Judging from the movements of playing, this boy has indeed studied for a long time, but he is inexplicably unfamiliar with his proficiency. You haven't played for a long time? She asked. Lin Zhengren hummed, I haven't touched it for a long time. By the way, can I borrow your music score just now? It's quite nice. Zhang Jin looked at him unexpectedly, nodded, and handed him her music score. I wanted to say that this song is a bit difficult, but I felt that saying this would be a bit contemptuous of the other party, so I didn't say anything. Lin Zhengren said thank you and simply flipped through it. After memorizing it, he smiled and put it on the piano, and played it lightly with his fingers. Just a moment after the piano piece was played, Zhang Jin's eyes widened slightly, and her mouth was speechless with surprise. Listening carefully to his handling of some difficult points of this song, the more I listened, the more exaggerated it became. Even the professional tutor praised my talent in piano, saying that I have an extremely excellent talent. But even if I played this extremely difficult piano piece, I would still make mistakes. But not only did Lin Zhengren not make any mistakes, but there were also several points where I played well, and his playing was much smoother than mine, which made it easy for people to get intoxicated. The beautiful piano sound echoed in the practice room for a long time, and the music reminded Zhang Jin of the previous two failures. Thinking of her arrogance when she thought he couldn't play the piano, the girl's jade hand slowly clenched into a fist and clenched it. When the piano piece reached the climax of the second half, Zhang Jin was completely clear that her level was definitely not as good as the boy in front of her, which was originally her most confident specialty. And at this time, Assistant Fang Meng outside the corridor also heard the piano sound and walked over. Looking at the scene in the room, she was also shocked and speechless. Lin Zhengren, who was halfway through playing, suddenly said, "This place will be much better if you deal with it like this. You can try it." He went over and noted that he had played before. Zhang Jin looked at him, and Lin Zhengren also turned to look at Zhang Jin. For Lin Zhengren, it didn't matter whether Zhang Jin listened or not, because he was just kindly reminding her. Although the girl didn't say anything, she sat on her piano and tried to play according to Lin Zhengren's method. There was a mistake the first time. Lin Zhengren reminded, "Put the second one." Got it. She readjusted and played again. This time, she played it really smoothly, which surprised Zhang Jin. Obviously, she had practiced this section many times before, and tried many ways to play it perfectly, but under his guidance, it only took a short minute to learn it instantly, and she was familiar with it. Zhang Jin tried to play it twice again incredulously, and the same result. The melody was almost perfect. Lin Zhengren also sighed at the speed of this girl's learning. Although he could only learn twice as fast when teaching the contracted person, he could only be regarded as a famous teacher when teaching others. But even so, when teaching Han Wenwen to read before, many questions still needed to be explained twice by himself before she could learn. But Zhang Jin didn't even finish her sentence. She already knew what was wrong. The difference in personal strengths and talents is indeed huge. Lin Zhengren praised, "You are really talented, and you will probably achieve a lot in this field in the future. In this case, let's start practicing the ensemble we will perform at the party tomorrow. Let me see what we should play." He took the music score next to him and found that it was really a very simple piano piece that even a novice could learn. Lin Zhengren said, "This is simple, shall we start now?" Jiang Jin did not answer, but looked at the piano coldly, with something else in her eyes. Suddenly Jiang Jin stood up and walked out of the house. Sorry, I have to leave you for a moment. She walked to the door and stopped. In fact, I don't think there's any need to practice anymore. My piano level is not as good as yours. I think you can play the simple song like the one we are going to perform tomorrow easily. I am not even qualified to let you accompany me. Lin Zhengren blinked and looked at her, thinking, is it so profound? It's just a show, so you won't practice tonight, Jiang Jin, just go on stage tomorrow. I know you won't have any problems with your level. After that, she left the classroom, and Fang Meng, who was standing in the corridor, naturally heard everything. Others didn't know, but only she understood that although Jin Jin didn't care about anything on the surface, she was actually an extremely competitive person. It seemed that only in this way did she think that she was worthy of her father's heavy investment in her training, so as not to waste the family's resources. However, as a boy from an ordinary family, Lin Zhengren could find excuses for his academic performance and sports performance, saying that it was due to good luck or natural physique, but Jiang Jin knew that there was no luck in the piano, which she was best at. Overwhelming was overwhelmed. It seemed to be just the same song, but in the eyes of the proficient, the player's levels were very different, not to mention that the other party had reached the point where he could teach himself. Qian, are you okay? Jiang Jin looked back at Fang Meng and continued to walk forward. Let's go home. I want to go back to my room and calm down. The Rolls-Royce stopped at the school gate soon. As classmates, Jiang Jin and Fang Meng took the car back home. Lin Zhengren sat alone in the classroom, listening to the rehearsal sounds in the classrooms a few steps away. He thought that since he didn't want to practice anymore, he would continue reading. On the way home, Fang Meng looked at Jiang Jin's gloomy expression. Qian, Jiang Jin couldn't hear anything anymore. Jiang Jin was 16 years old this year. She had never met such a strong opponent in her life. She was so strong that she didn't know how to beat the opponent when she remembered the piano piece Lin Zhengren had just played. As soon as she got home that night, she locked herself in the room and lay on the bed. The second young lady looked into the distance with lifeless eyes, her eyes empty. The next morning, Jiang Jin walked out of the room wearing the same clothes. Fang Meng understood something. Qian, you didn't take off your clothes to sleep last night, because I didn't sleep at all. Fang Meng, It's so exaggerated. Jiang Jin is now in a state of walking corpse. She eats, washes, and takes the bus to school step by step. Then she is in a daze in the practice room until the school officially holds the freshman welcome ceremony in the evening. The head teacher said nervously, it will be your turn to go on stage soon. Jiang Jin, Lin Zhengren, are you two ready? Lin Zhengren nodded, no problem, teacher. Jiang Jin's eyes are dull and she exudes a desperate atmosphere. She whispered, don't worry, teacher, there will be no problem. Lin Zhengren had cold sweat on his forehead. He wondered what happened to this guy. Why did she feel so different today from the past few days? Fortunately, the speech went smoothly. Although Jiang Jin was not in good condition, she would not embarrass the family once she was on stage. As a representative of the freshmen, she was passionate and could drive everyone's emotions. The piano ensemble that followed was also performed smoothly and elegantly. All the freshmen outside the venue applauded and exclaimed when they heard the beautiful piano melody. In the audience of Class 3, He Qing looked at the two people standing together and bowing to the audience, clasping their hands. Jiang Zuli also gritted her teeth and clenched her fists, wondering why the two looked so much like a couple. Damn Zhengren. Only Han Wenwen, who is good at observing people's hearts, listened to the whole process in the backstage of the contestants, blinking curiously. It feels like this classmate Jiang Jin has suffered some kind of major blow. What happened? She looked at Lin Zhengren again. Her sensitive nerves were touched and she murmured to herself, suddenly I have a bad feeling. After Lin Zhengren and Jiang Jin left the stage, Jiang Jin's cold eyes instantly turned into despair, because in the ensemble just now, Jiang Jin once again heard the gap between her and Lin Zhengren, which was very different. After the freshman party ended, Jiang Jin took 3 consecutive days of sick leave and went home to recuperate. Until the morning of the 4th day, the second young lady finally woke up from the quilt, lying on the pillow with a blushing face, with the shyness of a girl. Chapter 94 The Second Mrs. Curiosity Syndrome. In a second-floor villa in Zidong City, Jiang Jingxi, the eldest daughter of the Jiang family, was drinking coffee on the sofa in the living room on the first floor, wearing high heels and a dress. The two sisters are both excellent in appearance due to their parents' problems, but compared to the cold Zhang Jin, the elder sister Zhang Jingshi's personality is obviously gentler, which really interprets the character of the word sister. She sat there dignifiedly with her legs tightly together, the coffee in her hand steaming, her red lips blowing across the cup as she sipped it simply. Qianqian, how many days hasn't left the room? Feng Meng also sat on the side of the sofa and poured coffee, and at the same time poured herself a cup. It's been exactly 3 days. This is the longest time since I was a child. Zhang Jingshi took another sip of coffee. Is the opponent so strong this time? Although Qianqian had opponents that she couldn't defeat before, it was enough for her to practice in seclusion in the bedroom for half a day at most, and then she could find a way to break the situation. This time she actually locked herself up for 3 days without eating or drinking. Feng Meng also picked up the coffee. This time is indeed different. Whether it is appearance, figure, grades, physique, constitution, specialty, starting point, age or even the piano, which the second lady is best at, the opponent is a complete all-round crush. He is also the most talented boy I have ever seen. Hearing Feng Meng's series of compliments, Zhang Jingshi was also a little surprised. Such an exaggerated all-round talent? And it's a boy. Feng Meng nodded and looked at Zhang Jin's bedroom on the second floor. But even if the opponent is so strong, I still know the character of the second lady. She will always find a way to break through. She recalled many experiences when she was a child. In her eyes, Zhang Jin might be knocked down, but in the end she would always be able to get up by herself. She was the kind of person who could never be completely knocked down. As soon as the two finished talking, Zhang Jin's door suddenly moved. Zhang Jingshi and Feng Meng turned back and looked towards the second floor, until the door of the room was completely opened, revealing Zhang Jin, who was wearing pajamas and had a messy hair. She was still as beautiful as ever, but she looked a little listless. Sister Zhang Jingshi smiled gently. Qianqian, have you successfully broken the deadlock? Zhang Jin looked at the two people in the living room on the first floor. No, I'm just hungry after not eating for 3 days. Xiamen, hurry up and make me some breakfast. I'm starving. Feng Meng stood up. I see. Qianqian, then do you want to eat in your room or come out? Zhang Jin replied calmly. Eat in the restaurant on the first floor, and it's better to have a glass of milk. Okay, Feng Meng smiled faintly. I thought Zhang Jin would continue to retreat, but it seems that she has come up with a good idea. After a while, Zhang Jin came down from upstairs in her pajamas and sat at the dining table on the first floor. Feng Meng brought breakfast up and helped to smooth her messy hair. Zhang Jin ate it elegantly and quickly. Another serving. Feng Meng was stunned. Okay, wait a minute. Another serving was brought, and she ate it again. Her hungry belly finally got some relief, and her face also eased a lot. Seeing her sister recover as usual, Zhang Jingshi drank her coffee with relief, looked at the time and got up to go out. Since everything is fine, I'll go out. When will you go to school? Qianqian. Zhang Jin turned to look at her sister. In the afternoon, Zhang Jingshi said, come on, and left home. Feng Meng sat aside. Qianqian, how are you? What do you mean? She was puzzled. I'm talking about that boy named Lin Sehengren. Zhang Jin was stunned, and her face suddenly blushed when she heard his name and looked at the table without saying a word. Feng Meng was puzzled to see her shy look. This was the first time in her life that she saw such an expression on Zhang Jin's face. Of course, Zhang Jin didn't love Lin Sehengren at the moment. She just had a super curiosity syndrome because of the long-term seclusion. That is, during these 3 days, Miss Zhang was not in a daze in the room meaninglessly, but her smart brain was thinking about how to surpass Lin Sehengren from various aspects. She thought of thousands of ways that might be useful, including but not limited to cram in Chinese, sleep only 2 hours a night and stay up late to practice piano, exercise for a longer time, and other desperate methods. But after all kinds of simulations in her mind, she still felt that the gap between her and this boy was like the gap between a stream and the sea. She really couldn't surpass him. For this reason, she gradually had a question, that is, how did Lin Sehengren, who came from a mediocre family, reach this level? Even if he had extraordinary talents, even if he was really a genius among 10,000, but to be able to be better than herself in all aspects, he must have made a lot of efforts. So in her mind, she started to be curious about Lin Sehengren from a simple beginning, becoming more and more curious, very curious, super curious. In the end, the girl successfully filled her mind with Lin Sehengren's figure, and the fact that she didn't eat for 3 days made her nerves a little out of balance. So Jiang Jin had an inexplicable admiration for this boy. Feng Meng realized something and was terrified. Qian, I'll call a doctor for you now. You're sick. Jiang Jin saw Feng Meng take out her cell phone, but she stopped her with a red face. Fortunately, she still had some reason. No, I'm just a little interested in him. It will be fine in a few days. Really, it was the first time that Feng Meng saw Jiang Jin in this state, but your expression now is okay. I hope it will be fine in a few days. At this moment, Feng Meng felt that something strange was going to happen. Jiang Jin slept again in the morning, got dressed and washed up, and felt refreshed. When they got on the bus to school, Feng Meng found that she was no different from usual and breathed a sigh of relief. Until they arrived at the school, the two girls happened to run into Lin Zhengren, who was going to the classroom from the dormitory. Jiang Jin's face was flushed. Feng Meng was stunned. Qian, are you okay? Jiang Jin looked away shyly, and even her tone was full of girlish shyness. Nothing. Why do I feel like I'm okay? Do we really not need to go to the hospital? Jiang Jin covered her red face with one hand. It's really okay. Feng Meng, don't do this. I'm scared. After entering the teaching building, Jiang Jin did not go to the classroom but went to find the head teacher and asked about changing seats. Jiang Jin's reason was very normal, and her expression was no different from usual. Teacher, I think if I sit at the same table with Lin Zhengren, my academic performance will continue to improve. I hope you can adjust my position so that I can sit at the same table with him. Unexpectedly, the head teacher picked up the new seating chart after military training and said, in fact, I have already adjusted it this way, and I have also determined the deputy monitor and the regular monitor of our class. After all, your grades are too good, and your knowledge reserves are far beyond other students, so the teacher also thinks it would be better for you two to sit together. Jiang Jin saw the new seating chart and the arrangement of the monitors. It said regular monitor Lin Zhengren and deputy monitor Jiang Jin. Jiang Jin didn't say it, but this was indeed the first time in her life that she was pushed down by others. Being the deputy monitor. When she returned to the classroom, the teacher announced the adjustment of seats at noon, and announced the arrangement of the monitor, deputy monitor and other members. Lin Zhengren was not too surprised to hear that Jiang Jin was his deskmate, because high school is different from junior high school. Schools still care about grades, and it is not completely random like junior high school. Many times, there will be such a situation where good students are put together. However, after arranging the seats, Lin Zhengren saw Jiang Jin, who was flipping through a book with a red face and aura but still kept people away. He was a little dazed. Did she have a fever? The whole person looked hot and cold, such a strange state. Jiang Jin suddenly asked, Monitor, how much time do you usually take out to study? Lin Zhengren looked at her serious expression and answered casually, it's not necessarily the same. Basically, I study when I have time, same as me. Thank you for your answer. Jiang Jin used her brain as a notebook to write down Lin Zhengren's life pattern. Then he continued, you have started reading books for senior grades now, right? Can I ask what book you read recently? Lin Zhengren blinked, wondering what this familiar feeling of déjà vu was. Ecological research methods and experimental design. It was exactly the same as when Han Wenwen recorded her living habits, but Jiang Jin's observation focus was not on love, but on the field of study. Jiang Jin was stunned. This is not a high school book, right? Yes, it is indeed not a high school book. It is one of the required courses for the master's degree in ecology. I just took a look. Jiang Jin, she saw a huge gap in her eyes, like a 1,000-meter canyon. Chapter 95. Who is his girlfriend? From today on, Jiang Jin would ask some strange questions from time to time. But the frequency of asking is not as high as that of a certain fox at the beginning. This second young lady would only ask a question about Lin Zhengren's living habits out of the blue. For example, when the teacher asked the classmates to discuss certain questions with each other, Jiang Jin would throw out her own questions. In this way, Lin Zhengren would not be tired of answering. Class monitor, how many years have you learned piano? Jiang Jin said seriously while holding a math book. Lin Zhengren said casually, actually, I didn't learn it professionally. I just learned it for a while when I occasionally saw others playing the piano. After all, I don't have a piano at home for me to practice. Jiang Jin's expression was gloomy. If someone else said this, she might not believe it, but Lin Zhengren's casual answer made Jiang Jin feel it was very real, especially since she had seen Lin Zhengren's strength. And this gloom turned into shyness after a moment. Lin Zhengren asked, what's wrong? she would turn her head away with a red face. Nothing, just asking. She was more and more impressed by how powerful the boy sitting next to her was. He was so powerful that for several days, her curiosity about Lin Sehengren did not decrease, but became stronger. Her heartbeat accelerated. All these scenes of shyness were seen by Fang Meng at the back of the classroom. She stared at Jiang Jin blankly. Kaianqian. Fang Meng suddenly pursed her lips, her eyes firm. She knew that if she continued like this, something would happen sooner or later. She felt that as an assistant, and as Jiang Jin's childhood friend and best friend, she should do something. Help her. So she clenched her fists and was determined to find the shortcomings of this man. Just at this time, the bell rang, and a pure-looking girl with a ponytail passed by the classroom. It was naturally the figure of Xiao Heqing. When Xiao Heqing passed by the first class, she checked Lin Sehengren, who was sitting in the classroom, through the back door. She saw that his deskmate was Jiang Jin and they were still talking. She bit her lips in jealousy. I wondered how they could be deskmates and how they were getting closer. I walked slowly to the girls' restroom. Fang Meng saw the whole scene. Because Lin Sehengren had shown off his talent in the military training and the freshman party, he attracted countless young girls and seniors to come and talk to him. At first, Fang Meng didn't care, because her own Kaianqian would also have many boys approach her every time school started, but the cold Kaianqian would not talk to anyone she was not interested in. But this beautiful girl with a ponytail. She had seen Lin Sehengren talk to her once before, and for a long time. She knew that Lin Sehengren, like Kaianqian, rarely talked to the opposite sex. Since he talked to this girl, it must mean that the relationship between the two was very special. Since the direct investigation was fruitless, she would start with her. Fang Meng glanced at Kaianqian, who was blushing, and when the bell rang, she walked straight out of the classroom of Class 1 and went to the door of the girls' restroom, waiting for the other party. After using the restroom and pulling up her pants, He Qing unexpectedly heard a girl chatting in the next stall. By the way, did you watch the same drama last week? It's very popular recently. What same drama? It's the butterfly knot. That kind of drama, isn't it very popular recently? And I heard that there are many girls like this in our school, is it true? Who is with whom? I don't know, I just heard it. Let me tell you about the details of a novel I read recently. The heroine in it first made friends and then, little He Qing was a little confused at first. She didn't know what the wings knot meant. Until she heard the other party's detailed description, she suddenly blushed and felt embarrassed. Girls and girls. So there are such things in the world? That must be so outrageous, it doesn't seem like something a normal person can do. She covered her ears and didn't want to listen anymore. She walked out and washed her hands. As a result, when she went out, she saw a beautiful girl with a side ponytail staring at her. Little He Qing lowered her head and tried to walk away. Although her fear of strangers had improved a lot since she was a child with the help of Lin Sehengren, she would still get nervous if a stranger stared at her like that. She would even want to throw him to her back if she wanted to offend her. But Fang Meng walked straight over and said, "My name is Fang Meng, and I'm from Class 1. Can I meet you?" Little He Qing raised her head in panic and said, "Do you want to know me?" Fang Meng stared at the other person very seriously and observed, "I just want to make friends with you and chat with you." Make friends and chat. Little He Qing suddenly remembered what she had just heard in the bathroom. She blushed and waved her hands, thinking that this person might not be the so-called knot. No, no, no. Forget about making friends. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Sorry, I have a boyfriend. After that, she wanted to run away. Fang Meng thought, why does this girl look so alert, and what does it mean to have a boy you like? She turned around and happened to hear the two girls discussing the knot of wings. Fang Meng's face also turned red. She quickly stepped forward and grabbed Xiao Heqing's arm, explaining, "Wait. That's not what I meant. I just asked you about Lin Sehengren. There's nothing wrong with my sexual orientation, simple and direct." Xiao Heqing thought she was going to do something violent to her at the time. Her alert nerves made her subconsciously grab the other's wrist. If the other wanted to do something to her, she might not be able to help but throw the other to the ground. As a result, when she held the other's wrist, Xiao Heqing and Fang Meng were shocked. Xiao Heqing was surprised that this girl had practiced martial arts. The coach once said that you can tell if a girl has practiced martial arts as long as you grab her arm. The seemingly slender arms are actually stronger than ordinary girls as long as you hold them. Fang Meng also watched the other party holding her wrist, thinking, Isn't this a gesture for a back throw? As long as she does something next, she will definitely throw herself to the ground. Both of them stared at each other vigilantly, and then slowly let go of their hands. At this time, Zhao Heqing suddenly reacted. What did you just say? Lin's Hengren, Feng Meng also reacted. Wait, you said you have a boyfriend? Who is it? Lin's Hengren. Zhao Heqing nodded honestly. Yes, my boyfriend is Lin's Hengren. Ah, Feng Meng was stunned. Lin's Hengren has a girlfriend. Wait? Then Qianqian will become a mistress who destroys other people's feelings. No. Qianqian's personality, since she knew that he had a girlfriend, she would definitely not blush. After all, she just didn't want to see Qianqian trapped because of simple curiosity. Feng Meng was suddenly delighted. Thank you. Goodbye, classmate, Zhao Heqing said incomprehensible, but immediately understood something. This is also a girl who likes Lin's Hengren. After all, she just said that her sexual orientation is fine, and she is in the same class as Lin's Hengren. Zhao Heqing clasped her hands together in front of her with jealousy. After entering high school, there are many more beautiful girls who like him. I'm so unhappy. Zhao Heqing walked back to the classroom slowly, but what she didn't see was that at the same time, Zhang Zuli just walked out of the classroom. And just happened to hear what little He Qing said, standing there blankly. What did He Qing just say? It's her boyfriend. I'm laying it bare. I don't have any drafts saved, I just right now. If nothing goes wrong today, I'll have the 2 tickets I promised you, 1 chapter with 2,000 monthly tickets, and 2 chapters of rewards. I'll try my best to get to the other side. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by as a submissive, not a beast. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by Fat Tiger Goes Down the Mountain. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by Lin Zichen. Thank you for the 500 starting coins rewarded by Chicken Rolls with Sugar Sauce. Thank you for the 500 starting coins rewarded by Super. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by Hong Su. Thank you for the 500 starting coins rewarded by Jishao Yuanch. Thank you for the 140 starting coins rewarded by Yuling. I would like to thank the author of If God Has Color, It Must Be Red for the 100 starting coins. I will thank you for the remaining large amount in the next chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96 Lin's Hengren and Feng Meng's Child Marriage. Zhang Zuli's brain short-circuited, and she watched He Qing return to the classroom. After a long silence, she hugged her head, and her mind seemed to explode. Recalling the scene on the military training ground that day, Zhang Ran confessed to her, and she agreed. Although she had not had much contact with him alone in the past 2 days, isn't he her boyfriend now? For this reason, she was shy and didn't sleep all night after delivering the water. The glass of water that he took a sip of, Zhang Zuli reluctantly drank it mouthful by mouthful for 2 days. What's going on? Zhang Zuli hugged her head, closed her eyes and blushed. Whose boyfriend is that idiot? He didn't confess to He Qing, did he? At this time, Han Wenwen came out of the classroom and looked at Zhang Zuli's painful expression with her head in her hands. Lily? What's wrong? Zhang Zuli quickly put down her arms, put her hands behind her back and blushed. No, nothing. I'm going to the bathroom. She quickly went to the girls' bathroom to wash her hands, clenched her fists and looked jealous, thinking that she must find this idiot Trask clearly. He clearly confessed his love to me that day. I heard it with my own ears. How could he still cheat? That playboy. The sun was shining brightly at noon today. There was a beautiful lotus pond in this public high school with carp swimming around in it. In the small pavilion next to it, the cold and aloof Zhang Jin sat on a bench in the pavilion and looked at the lotus pond, which was hit by fish from time to time. After leaving Lin's Hengren, she was no longer shy and returned to her original state. You said you had something important to tell me? What is it? Assistant Feng Meng stood aside with a document in her hand and said seriously, Qianqian, have you felt strange in the past few days? Zhang Jin looked at the lotus pond and the pool, but her mind was in a daze and she thought of Lin's Hengren again, thinking about his profile and the hard-working figure behind him. Feng Meng didn't hear her answer and called out again, Qianqian? Are you listening to me? Zhang Jin finally reacted and blushed. Seeing that it was Feng Meng, she calmed down again. What's wrong? Oh, I heard it. I don't think there's anything strange about me. It's normal, Feng Meng retorted. No. You were just thinking about Lin Suhengren again. Zhang Jin turned her head and looked at the lotus pond with a guilty conscience. Feng Meng was speechless. Sure enough, you are already terminally ill. At first I believed that you would get better in a day or two, but now it seems that as long as your curiosity about him has not dissipated, this matter is not over. She took a long breath and looked at the information in her hand, but fortunately, I have found a key thing that can relieve your symptoms, Qianqian. She handed the thing in her hand to Zhang Jin. You will know after you take a look. Zhang Jin took the information from the other party and found that it showed the relationship between a girl named He Qing and Lin Suhengren. Feng Meng explained while she was looking at the information. This girl named He Qing is Lin Suhengren's girlfriend. She has admitted it herself, so it can't be false. According to my simple investigation, these two should be childhood sweethearts and went to the same junior high school. Lin Suhengren has always taken good care of her. That's why Qianqian, you are blushing in front of Lin Suhengren now. Zhang Jin looked at the photo of Lin Suhengren in the information and shyly covered her face with her hands. Feng Meng was stunned, and quickly snatched the information to stop her from going crazy. Qianqian, are you listening to me? Are you okay? Zhang Jin calmed down for a while before she breathed a sigh of relief. I don't know why you are telling me all this. I don't like him. What does it have to do with me whether he has a girlfriend or not? I'm just interested in his talents in all aspects. Feng Meng was also a little dazed. Really? So you know you don't like him? That's easy. Her tone also calmed down. I noticed that you haven't been in a good state recently. You blush every time you talk to him, so I'm worried that if this goes on, you might really have him in your heart, so I'm trying to find a way to calm you down. Zhang Jin slowly stood up, her frosty eyes staring at Feng Meng coldly. Xiao Meng, what are you thinking about? How could I like a boy? And I swore a long time ago that if I must find a boyfriend, unless the other party is much stronger than me and surpasses me in all aspects, otherwise I will never be moved by him. Feng Meng sat aside and put her heart back in her stomach. That's right, I also remember that you once made such a vow. So, she suddenly got nervous again and looked at Zhang Jin. So you are talking about classmate Lin Suhengren, right? What's the difference between this and your wish? Zhang Jin said shyly. Really? Is it really the same as him? Of course. You blush again. You can't like him just because he is capable. When looking for a boyfriend, you should look for a boy who treats you well, not a strong boy. You will hurt yourself. And how did things turn out like this? As a result, Zhang Jin returned to normal the next moment. I said, I don't like him. How could I hurt myself? Feng Meng, is she going to have schizophrenia? Zhang Jin slowly stood up, and Feng Meng asked her what she was going to do. Zhang Jin replied, go back to the teaching building and sit for a while, and by the way, go and see the girl named He Qing. I want to see what Lin Suhengren likes about her and how I am worse than her. Zhang Jin's expression could not be seen from behind, but Feng Meng saw Zhang Jin's clenched hands. She slowly tilted her body to secretly check Zhang Jin's profile. As a result, she saw her jealous look. Feng Meng looked dazed. Then she quickly stood up and used her arm to choke her throat. I won't let you go. You are just jealous now. You will really fall in love with him like this. I won't. You will. I won't. Let me go. Who would believe that? Then why do you say I like him? How should I know? I don't like him. Feng Meng was exhausted. Soon it was the weekend. Feng Meng would go home to see her family once every 2 weeks. But today when she was on the bus home, when she walked into the house, she suddenly saw not only her parents but also 2 uncles and aunts sitting on the sofa. Feng Meng's parents introduced, Meng Meng is back? Let me introduce you, this is your Uncle Lin, this is your Aunt Lin, they are your parents' classmates, old friends who haven't seen each other for many years, and just happened to meet on the road this time. Lin Yingjin and Lin Xiali greeted Feng Meng. Hello, Xiaomeng. After so many years, you have grown up so much and are still so beautiful. Feng Meng had never seen each other before, but still nodded politely. Hello, uncle and aunt. Feng Meng's parents smiled and said, by the way, seeing Meng Meng suddenly reminded me that your son is also very big, right? When we were in school, didn't we say that we would let the 2 children be together when they grow up and arrange a baby marriage for them? Thanks to the Big Brother 2017121018260276 inches for the reward of 10,000 starting coins. Thanks to the Big Brother 2017121018260276 inches for the reward of 1,000 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother, I feel pity for you, not because I like you, for the reward of 9,999 starting coins. Chapter 97, Proximity and Fate. Lin Xiaoli and Lin Yingjin were about to pick up a cup of tea to drink, but suddenly they were stunned. Feng Meng also stared at them blankly. Huh? Feng Meng's mother asked her husband, "Honey, is this true? Did I remember it wrong?" Feng Meng's father remembered, No, it is true. Have you two forgotten? At the beginning, you two were in love in college, and Feng Meng's mother and I were also in love in college. The four of us said that if the children's ages are not much different in the future, we will arrange a baby marriage. Have you two really forgotten? Lin Xiaoli and Lin Yingjin stared at each other blankly, their eyes widened, recalling every bit of college. In unison, it seems that this is true. The couple didn't say anything else, but they felt that something was wrong, because the baby marriage was purely for fun. They didn't expect that two children would be conceived within a year, born within a year, and it happened to be a boy and a girl. After so many years, they didn't take this matter to heart. Originally, it was nothing to think about it, but the two of them understood that their son Ranran was different from other boys. Not to mention the two childhood sweethearts and a female classmate, that's 3 in total. The main thing is that his grandfather introduced a fiancée to Ranran some time ago, and now the two of them have another one for their son. Feng Meng's mother said, "I can tell from your expressions that you all remember it, right?" She called her daughter, Meng, "Come and sit down too. I just want to talk to you about this." Feng Meng sat down obediently. She didn't expect that she would encounter such a thing. Child marriage? Do I have a child marriage? Feng Meng's mother nodded, yes. At that time, the four of us had a good relationship, just like best friends and girlfriends, so we arranged a child marriage. By the way, Xiaoli, she asked Lin Xiaoli, "What's your son's nickname? Where is he studying now?" Lin Xiaoli blushed. "It's called Ranran, and he's in the nearby high school, number 1 middle school." "Oh, isn't that a coincidence? Our Meng is also in number 1 middle school." Lin Yingjin was surprised. Aren't they in the same school? Feng Meng's father laughed. "This is a great fate. You should have a photo of your son in your phone. Can you let us see it?" Lin Yingjin and Lin Xiaoli looked at each other. Lin Yingjin laughed and glanced at Feng Meng. "Okay, I'll look for it. Things have come to this point, and we can only let nature take its course. Ranran, don't blame your parents for causing you trouble. This is all fate's choice, and Xiaomeng is really good looking. I guess a lot of boys like her." Lin Yingjin took out a photo of Lin Sihengren during last year's winter vacation and handed the phone to her. "This was taken last year. Take a look." Feng Meng's parents took it and were very surprised to see the photo. They said in unison, "Is he so handsome?" Feng Meng's parents were not pretended to be surprised, because Lin Sihengren himself has a very high appearance, and the charm of the system has made Lin Sihengren's appearance grow wildly over the years. Even if it is just a photo, others will tacitly have some good impression of him at a glance. Ranran from your family has inherited all the advantages of both of you. He is so lovable. Lin Xiaoli was indeed very proud of this. Ranran is indeed very handsome. Yingjin and I are ashamed of ourselves. She handed the phone to her daughter, Meng. "Take a look. This is your brother Ranran, your childhood sweetheart." Feng Meng saw the shocked expressions of her parents, and thought how good looking could he be? Among the boys Feng Meng had seen, Lin Sihengren in the class was actually the most handsome. Feng Meng felt that no matter how handsome he was, he would probably not be as handsome as the boy Qianqian cared about. Who knew that when she took the photo, she suddenly froze and even rubbed her eyes, looking at the figure in the photo standing in the snow in a coat. This boy looks like Lin Sihengren. Except for the clothes he wears, everything else is exactly the same. Well, isn't this Lin Sihengren? Feng Meng's pupils dilated, and her red lips opened slightly in surprise and she couldn't speak. In other words, Lin Sihengren is actually my fiancé. Qianqian likes my boyfriend. Am I awesome? Feng Meng's mother asked. Meng, what do you think? Feng Meng came back to her senses. Feng Meng's mother smiled. Why are you in a daze? I'm asking if you want to meet your brothers Sihengren. Anyway, we are in the same city as your uncle and aunt, not far away. We can go to your uncle and aunt's house someday and let you two meet. Feng Meng looked at the photo. She didn't know what to say. Finally, with the adults waiting, Feng Meng's lips slowly said, "Okay, meet." Feng Meng's parents clapped their hands happily. "Okay. Then Xiaoli Yingjin, is it settled?" Next time we have a chance, we will go to your house as guests, let the two children meet and make friends, and by the way, the four of us can also have a good reunion." Lin Yingjin laughed, accepted the reality, and said seriously, "Okay, then call us when you go there. Anyway, we will be in touch again after meeting this time, and we can also take the children to play in the city when we have time in the future." Feng Meng stared at the figure of the boy in the photo. "I thought that since he has a girlfriend Qianqian and she still likes him, I can only continue to dig out his weaknesses. Only by getting closer to him can I find out what his weaknesses are. But I have to say that this boy is really handsome." Today is the weekend, but since Lin Zhengren entered high school, he no longer goes home every week, but once every 2 weeks. After all, every time he goes back, he accompanies these girls to practice their specialties. So there is no difference in school on weekends. Since he will accompany Xiao He Qing to participate in the competition next week, Lin Zhengren plans to sleep in the dormitory for a day this week, although his energy is rarely sluggish under the blessing of the system. But catching up on sleep from time to time is also a kind of enjoyment in life. He went to the big supermarket outside the school and planned to buy some cooked food and instant noodles to eat in the dormitory. As a result, when he was choosing things on the shelf, suddenly a beautiful sister with long curly hair wearing high heels also looked at the shelf without paying attention to the people next to her, and bumped into Lin Zhengren. A comfortable fragrance came to his face. The sister turned her head to look at Lin Zhengren, and Lin Zhengren also lowered his head and stared at her. The moment he saw the other person, Lin Zhengren sighed that there are more and more beautiful girls nowadays. Zheng Jingxi, who was wearing slim jeans, looked up at Lin Zhengren. The eyes on her oval face were very tender. She was also a very elegant boy. She apologized softly, "Sorry, I was just looking at the shelves and accidentally bumped into you." Lin Zhengren smiled, "It's okay. I was also looking at the shelves just now and didn't notice it." The two did not say much, but looked back at the shelves until they looked at a brand of instant noodles. Then unexpectedly, they stretched out their hands at the same time and put them on the bucket of instant noodles. When their hands touched, they stared at each other again. After a smile, they suddenly let go of their hands and said in unison, "You take it first." "Thank you Sky and Clouds for the 588 starting coins. Thank you 20240722021045111 inches for the 1000 starting coins. Thank you Jishao Yuanj for the 500 starting coins. I still owe 2 chapters, I will write them in the afternoon or evening." Chapter 98 The Imperial City Empress. In a tacit daze, Zheng Jingxi took a box of instant noodles and put it in Lin Zhengren's arms, and then took another box for herself. "Isn't this good?" After that, she left. Lin Zhengren didn't care and picked some cooked food to pack and went to the cashier to pay. Walking out of the supermarket and crossing a street, I suddenly saw a little girl crying on the side of the road, and the sister just squatted in front of the little sister, coaxing her gently. "What's wrong, little sister? Why are you crying?" The little girl pointed to a big tree next to her, on which there was a pink balloon stuck by a branch. "My balloon just flew up the tree by accident." It was a big plane tree. Because it was not late autumn at this time, the leaves on the tree were still lush. The balloon was stuck at a high point, and it seemed to be about 4 meters away from the ground, and ordinary people could not reach it at all. "Where is it? Let me see." Zhang Jingxi stood up and searched for a while. She also found the pink balloon, but at this height, she bent down again and said to the little girl, "Little sister, where did you buy this balloon? Can I buy you another one?" The little sister wiped her tears and shook her head slowly. "No, I want this one. There are little star stickers inside the balloon. You can't buy it anywhere else." Zheng Jingxi stared at the plane tree in a daze. "The main thing is that this is too high. Let's look for something that can reach it." She searched around for longer branches and happened to see Lin Zhengren coming out of the supermarket. The coincidence in the supermarket just now made the two of them look at each other briefly. Zheng Jingxi did not stop her gaze, but just smiled at him, and turned to continue looking for branches around, and the little girl followed her to look. Lin Zhengren walked over at this time, looked at the balloon on the tree, and felt that it was not too high. He gently jumped more than 1 meter and grabbed the branch that took the balloon. He pulled the tip of the branch down and took the balloon down effortlessly. Zheng Jingxi also heard the movement of the branch being pulled at this moment, and looked back with the little girl. Lin Zhengren returned the balloon to the little girl in front of Zheng Jingxi's surprised eyes. "Here, take it." The little girl stared at Lin Zhengren blankly, admiring and shyly said, "Thank you handsome big brother, it's okay." The little girl was extremely happy to get the balloon. She smiled and waved to Lin Suhengren and Jiang Jingshi, said thank you again, and left happily. Even when leaving, the little girl looked back and looked at Lin Suhengren reluctantly, and then shyly disappeared at the intersection. When the girl walked away, Jiang Jingshi smiled and asked, "Are you a sports student? Although I didn't see it, did you jump very high just now?" Lin Suhengren just deliberately controlled the height of the jump. The distance of 4 meters was nothing to him. He could have grabbed the balloon directly. But he was afraid of being discovered, so he only jumped more than 1 meter high and grabbed the branch, so that no one would care. It's not bad. The main thing is that the balloon just happened to hook onto the branch. As long as I can touch the branch, it's fine. Jiang Jingshi looked up at the tree and then at Lin Suhengren. It still feels very strong, but, she pointed at the plastic bag in Lin Suhengren's hand. The bag in your hand seems to have been scratched by the branch, and the things are going to fall out, huh? Lin Suhengren saw that his bag really didn't know when a hole was scratched, and the instant noodles and other things inside were about to fall out. Jiang Jingshi hurried to help catch them. She was surprised and said, "You bought a lot of things. Is dinner in it too? If you don't mind, I have new bags in the car. If you want hot water, I also have hot water in my car for instant noodles." Lin Suhengren looked up at her. Jiang Jingshi smiled with her naturally tender eyes. "Are you afraid that I am a bad person? I am just so enthusiastic because I have a sister who wears the same school uniform as you. You should be a student of the #1 middle school next door. I think the boy who can help the little girl pick the balloon must be a good person." She pointed to a Rolls-Royce in the distance. "That's it. I am also craving instant noodles. We can eat together." Jiang Jingshi walked to the car and opened the door. She found a new plastic bag for Lin Suhengren and took out a kettle. "Would you like to join us today? You were seen by a kind sister after helping a little girl during your travels. Seeing your kindness, she invited you to enjoy the meal together." Although this sister seemed defenseless, she was very enthusiastic even to a stranger like you. But you know that the other party is not an ordinary passerby, because the high-quality magic weapon she carries with her is enough to prove that this person's strength is extremely terrifying. It is also because of this that she can do whatever she wants and does not care about other people's identities. After all, you have seen that the other party's true identity is the Queen of the Imperial City. Lin Suhengren, what is the Queen of the Imperial City? What an exaggerated title. However, Lin Suhengren did guess the other party's identity. After all, this Rolls-Royce is the same as Jiang Jin's Rolls-Royce, and although there is a huge difference in the eyes and temperament, a closer look shows that her face is very similar to Jiang Jin's. Probably sisters. But if her sister is the Empress of the Imperial City, what would Jiang Jin be in the eyes of the system? The other party has already taken out the special nectar. Are you going to leave or take this unexpected opportunity? If it were normal, Lin Suhengren might have gone back, but since the system's voice had reminded him, Lin Suhengren would naturally not miss the opportunity to get the opportunity and walked over. "Thank you, sister." Jiang Jingshi smiled and pointed to the car. "Then go sit in the car." Lin Suhengren sat in the car, and Jiang Jingshi also sat in, but the car door was still open. She tore open the instant noodles she bought and turned on the kettle. Who knew that when Lin Suhengren tore it open, he found that there was no seasoning packet in the instant noodles, and the seasoning packet of the noodles was not at the bottom, empty. Jiang Jingshi pursed her lips and smiled sweetly, pouring out half of her seasoning bag and giving it to Lin Suhengren. "Half should be enough, right? It will be too salty if you pour too much." Lin Suhengren nodded and said thank you, and Jiang Jingshi handed him the hot water. After taking it, she poured hot water into the instant noodles. "You have enjoyed the nectar in the top-grade spirit pot and gained 10 points of strength." The instant noodles were ready soon after eating cooked food. Jiang Jingshi asked curiously, "You should be very popular in school, right? You are so handsome and have such good physical fitness." "Fortunately, my sister is the prettiest." Jiang Jingshi looked at Lin Suhengren and said what she thought with a smile, "You are very sweet. By the way, you should know my sister, right? My name is Jiang Jingshi, and my sister is Jiang Jin. If I am not mistaken, you two have been together often recently." Lin Suhengren looked at Jiang Jingshi and smiled. "Well, we are deskmates after all." He also introduced his name. "Oh? You're not surprised at all. It seems that you recognized me a long time ago?" Jiang Jingshi sat there dignifiedly. "Yes, after all, we look very similar. It's still easy to recognize." The businessman's intuition allowed Jiang Jingshi to see the difference of this boy at a glance. Although it was the first time she met Lin Suhengren, from the three aspects of appearance, temperament and physical fitness. She was basically sure that this was the boy that Qian had never been able to defeat. Because boys with so many advantages at the same time are rare, and there is basically no probability of having two. My sister is so naughty, thank you for taking care of her. If you have the chance, you can come to my house as a guest. Sister welcomes you to come and play. There are really not too many heroines. After all, the emotional lines of the new heroines have just begun. Chapter 99, Wishes and the Coquettish Han Wenwen. Zhang Jingxi sat in the main driver's seat, took off her high heels, revealing her feet in stockings, and changed into a pair of flat shoes for driving. She turned around and waved to Lin Sehengren, who had already gotten out of the car. Brother Lin Sehengren, I enjoyed this instant noodles very much. See you again if there is a chance. Lin Sehengren said goodbye politely. The Rolls-Royce drove away, just looking at Lin Sehengren's figure through the rearview mirror. Zhang Jingxi sighed to herself, this boy is really special. When I was chatting with him just now, I inexplicably had an illusion that his future status will be extremely high, even so high that even Qian and I may not be able to compare. Although it feels a little unrealistic, it will never be wrong to have a good relationship with this little guy. Zhang Jingxi looked ahead, no wonder Qian lost to him. Even if she is not as powerful as I imagined, at least she will not be an ordinary person. In the single bathroom of the girls' dormitory, the rushing water turned into mist and enveloped Xiaohe's jade-like body. She stretched out her smooth and white little hand and squeezed the shower gel. I used a bath ball to make the shower gel into foam and applied it on my arms and neck. I raised my head and enjoyed the hot water washing away the fatigue accumulated over the week. I unconsciously uttered, so comfortable after washing. I wrapped my wet long hair in a towel and came out in my pajamas. I returned to the dormitory. Seeing Han Wenwen, who was blow-drying her hair, little He Qing sat comfortably on the bed and exhaled, it's so comfortable. At first I thought this high school didn't have an independent bathroom, so I had to go out to take a shower in the past few weeks. I just found out about this too. I've blow-dried my hair. Will you blow-dry your hair later? Well, wait a moment. Han Wenwen looked at little He Qing, whose skin was rosy after taking a shower. She put down the hairdryer and sat beside her. She leaned in and smelled the scent of little He Qing. Xiao Qing smells so good. Little He Qing blushed and pushed her away with her hand. Wenwen, don't make a fuss. What's the smell? It's just the smell of shower gel. Han Wenwen found a comb and sat beside her and combed her hair. Shower gel is just one of the things. The main thing is that girls have body odor. Don't you know? Xiao Qing. Little He Qing was stunned. Body odor? I've heard of it, but is there really such a thing? Han Wenwen smiled meaningfully, covered her mouth and whispered in little He Qing's ear. It is said that any girl who has never been fucked by a boy will have a special fragrance on her body, and only your true love can smell this fragrance. Little He Qing blushed. You've read too many novels, Wenwen. I don't believe it. It's ridiculous. Han Wenwen continued to comb her hair and insisted on her point of view. What's there to not believe? If you don't believe it, Xiao Qing, you can find a chance to ask Lin Sehengren next time and let him smell if you have a special fragrance on you. Little He Qing felt shy just thinking about it. She lowered her head and sat in the bed with the quilt pulled up. I won't ask him such a request. It sounds so erotic. Han Wenwen laughed so hard. Xiao Qing is so cute. But soon Han Wenwen seemed to see something. Her smile stopped abruptly, and froze on her face. Little He Qing found Han Wenwen standing there without any reaction. Wenwen? Why don't you talk? Why are you looking at me? Han Wenwen blinked her fox eyes and stared at He Qing curled up on the bed. Her curvy upper body squeezed her pajamas. Some places looked particularly attractive. Little Qing, why didn't I notice it before? Have you developed so well after entering high school? Ah. What do you mean you developed so well? He Qing didn't understand, so she followed her line of sight and looked down at herself. Her face was visibly red and she quickly covered her body with a quilt. Wenwen. What are you talking about? Han Wenwen looked down at her slightly shriveled top and was a little disappointed. Why don't I have much? She turned her head and looked at her buttocks. It seems that only here has developed. I thought the front and back would be good. Little He Qing really didn't know why she would talk about this type of topic every time she was alone with Wenwen. Although she also wanted to talk about it, she did talk too much on weekdays. Wenwen, let's not talk about this for now. I have something important to talk to you about. Han Wenwen looked at Xiao Qing and had already guessed what it was. She smiled and got up to go to the balcony to pick up the washed clothes. Predicted, I know what He Qing is thinking about now. You want to ask me about the competition after you and Lin Hengren return to the town next week, right? At the beginning, Lin Hengren said that if you win the competition, he will grant you a wish. After we discussed it, your wish is to hold hands, right? He Qing grabbed the quilt and nodded, her voice soft and sticky. Yes, that's it. Wenwen, you said, after I win the competition, I want to hold hands with him. If I hold hands, can he agree? When Han Wenwen was sorting her socks, she suddenly remembered what happened when she went to the snack street with Lin Hengren a few days ago. Turning around, she asked curiously, why don't you agree? Now He Qing is also Lin Hengren's girlfriend, right? He won't refuse just holding hands, and didn't he carry you on his back before? He Qing bit her lip, and her shy face looked a little unconfident. Having said that, we have done a lot of things since we were young, but I have never done anything between lovers with him once. If I can really hold his hand, I think our relationship can be basically confirmed. Han Wenwen looked at He Qing's shy expression, imagining that she and Lin Hengren might hold hands in the future, and suddenly she felt a little jealous. But this jealousy quickly disappeared. Sitting next to He Qing again, she happily supported her best friend. Come on. It will definitely work. Just boldly mention it to him when the time comes. He Qing also smiled and no longer hesitated. Yeah, Han Wenwen touched He Qing's head, but the jealousy in her heart became stronger. That night, taking advantage of the night, Han Wenwen called Lin Hengren and secretly asked him to meet in a corner of the boys' dormitory building. Lin Hengren was curious. Why did you suddenly come to see me again? Han Wenwen didn't say anything, but squatted in the corner jealously, looking at Lin Hengren. I just missed you, and wanted Brother Hengren to coax me. Lin Hengren sat beside her and stretched out his hand. How many times have you secretly come to see me recently? Han Wenwen covered Lin Hengren's hand, and happily interlocked her fingers with him, leaning her head on Lin Hengren's shoulder and holding his arm. I don't know, many times. Anyway, foxes are so clingy. Brother Hengren has to pamper me more. Lin Hengren touched her head with his hand, and Han Wenwen closed her eyes with a smile on her lips. After a while, Lin Hengren stopped. Han Wenwen said unhappily and coquettishly, what? Touch my head for a while longer. So what do you want to talk to me about? Nothing, I just want you to touch my head. Lin Hengren breathed a sigh of relief, and Han Wenwen closed her eyes again as she wished. Her non-existent fox ears fluttered a few times. I just wanted to say don't forget to accompany me next month. Yeah, you said it many times. The update burst is over, and starting tomorrow it will be a normal daily increase of 10,000. Chapter 100 The Eternal Gap with Lin Hengren. A new week started. Nothing special happened this week. Only on Wednesday the school organized a small fundraising event. After Jiang Jin donated the money, the head teacher was shocked by her donation. After class, she called Jiang Jin out to ask her something. Lin Hengren happened to pass by and heard it. Student Jiang Jin, are you sure you want to donate 2 pianos to our school? Jiang Jin said expressionlessly. Yes, sure, but after I donate, I hope the school will let me play occasionally in my spare time. The head teacher sighed that children from wealthy families really do things differently from ordinary people, and said with a smile, the teacher will report this matter to the leaders above. Although there have not been many such things before, I think this small request should be no problem. Anyway, the teacher would like to thank student Jiang Jin for her contribution to the school, and the donation share just now to the poor areas is equivalent to several classes. Thank you, Jiang Jin replied. Teacher, you are welcome. I am just showing my love. Few people know the real thoughts of this second young lady. Only Fang Meng understood the other party's intention after hearing Jiang Jin talk about donating pianos and donations after class. Jiang Jin is not the kind of person who suffers losses, nor will she waste the resources of her family at will. She has always been profit-seeking in doing things. For example, donating a piano is for her convenience so that she can practice playing at any time. Secondly, it is also for the school to be tolerant even if she makes some small mistakes or makes some small requests in the future. After all, the piano is just a beginning and a representative. There will be a lot of such fundraising in the next 3 years, and Jiang Jin will definitely contribute a lot of resources to this high school every time. As for donations, she will definitely do this, because the name Jiang Jin represents not only herself, but also the future successor of the Jiang family. Although donating more may not necessarily be praised, as the second daughter of the Jiang family, if she does not donate, it will definitely leave a bad impression on others. Besides, this money is just a drop in the bucket for her, so there is no need to be stingy. After school on Thursday afternoon, the teacher called Jiang Jin alone and gave her the key to the school's newly opened piano room. This is the key to the school's piano room. The director said that Jiang Jin can go to the piano room to practice at any time on weekends or after school. Jiang Jin took it with a smile. Thank you, teacher. At that time, Lin Zhengren was planning to go to the cafeteria to eat, but Jiang Jin walked up to Lin Zhengren and said, "Class monitor, I'll wait for you in the piano room after lunch tomorrow. I have something to give you." After that, Jiang Jin left, and Lin Zhengren looked at her. "A month ago, you received a handwritten secret letter from your family while traveling. The letter said that hundreds of years ago, the head of the Lin family and the current imperial family of the imperial city were close friends. It happened that the Lin family met with the imperial city envoy a few days ago and talked about the marriage contract you had made with the eldest princess of the imperial city. The envoy said that the eldest princess is also traveling in the northern part of the continent. If you are lucky enough to meet her, please meet her and tell her about the marriage contract." A few days later, you did meet the eldest princess of the imperial city while traveling. She has a cold temperament and extraordinary talent, but she doesn't seem to know that you are her future husband. But even so, after some battles and entanglements with her, the eldest princess still has a strong interest in you without knowing that you are her husband. Today she asked you to meet in the Maoyin Hall at noon tomorrow, saying that she has a treasure to give you. You don't know what the treasure is, but if you go, you will get this unknown opportunity. Not going is also an option. After listening to the system's description, Lin Zhengren smiled and walked towards the cafeteria. Since it is an opportunity, there is no reason to refuse it. In the eyes of the system, Jiang Jin is really the eldest princess. No wonder her sister Jiang Jingshi was evaluated by the system as the empress of the imperial city. That night, Jiang Jin and Fang Meng took a car home. Jiang Jin has piano lessons 2 days a week, and 2 extremely professional tutors will come to the house to personally guide Jiang Jin to practice. In the piano room of the villa, Fang Meng cut the fruit and brewed hot tea, and brought them in. Jiang Jin's piano sound is elegant and solemn, and her fingers dance on the keys rhythmically. The 2 tutors applauded and clapped their hands. "Not bad, not bad. The second young lady's piano level has improved a lot recently. You know, this piano piece is extremely difficult. If ordinary people want to play without mistakes, they must have extremely strong talents, otherwise they can't do it at all." Listening to the teacher's praise, Jiang Jin stared at the piano but had no expression on her face. Because she once again remembered the scene when Lin Zhengren practiced at day, and the technical gap was completely different from her own level. Fang Meng could naturally see Jiang Jin's micro-expression, and put the fruit plate and tea aside. "Kaianqian, and teachers, you can take a break and drink some tea if you are tired." The teachers said thank you. Jiang Jin suddenly said, "I want to practice the song Watching the Snow that I was supposed to learn next year." Both teachers looked at Jiang Jin. Watching the Snow. Watching the Snow is a representative of extremely difficult piano music at the music festival. It is famous for its ups and downs and several climaxes. Therefore, unless the player has a very stable foundation, it is absolutely impossible to play it smoothly. As soon as Jiang Jin finished speaking, Fang Meng found the music score of Watching the Snow and put it on the piano. Jiang Jin's fingers were light. The rhythm in the front was quite familiar because she had practiced for more than 10 years, but she started to make mistakes at the first climax. When she played to the second climax, the transition sound was ruined because of the huge difference in the melody. She stopped her fingers, but even so, the teachers still applauded. "Second miss is amazing. This piece is so difficult, so it's great that she can play it here for the first time. More practice will definitely be effective." Jiang Jin started playing again from the beginning, but the result was still the same problem. After all, there is no luck in playing the piano. If you can play, you can play, and if you can't, you can't. The teacher came over and taught Jiang Jin seriously, but Jiang Jin frowned after listening. She was even more shocked, but not shocked by the 2 of them, but shocked by Lin Zhengren at the time. Because although what the 2 teachers said seemed to make sense, it was completely different from the day when Lin Zhengren taught her. She obviously had a sense of enlightenment. Jiang Jin was more and more puzzled about what level Lin Zhengren was. Could he be better than these 2 teachers who have been in the industry for more than 30 years? She stood up. "Please play it first, I want to listen." The teachers smiled and nodded. "Okay, then I will demonstrate it to the second lady." Jiang Jin looked at the elegant movements of the teacher sitting on the piano. The teacher even made mistakes when he played for the first time, and it was better the second time. But even though she finished playing smoothly, Zhang Jin's brows furrowed even more tightly. She was sure that these two teachers were indeed stronger than her, but they were afraid they were not as good as Lin Sengren. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.